It's time to shake and wake up the world with the best biblical talk shows from all over the world gathered in one place. ShakeandWakeRadio.com, where the truth is all that matters, and the truth will set you free. ShakeandWakeRadio.com.
Turn it around to the reverse side, where you see the two great seals of the United States of America.
Yep.
Okay? Now, if you notice, it says those are supposed to be the two great seals of the United States of America, correct?
Yep.
Those aren't. Those are the two seals of the Order of the Illuminati. Now, I have all this memorized from my days in the Illuminati.
Now, this went on the dollar bill in 1935, but this reflects ancient beliefs of secret societies that go back literally before the birth of Christ. It symbolizes the ancient goal of secret societies of the establishment of what in Scripture we see in Revelation 13 as the reign of the beast and the false prophet.
The Great Seal is a very fascinating story.
I got one right here.
The Great Seal of the United States, or is it the Great Seal of the Illuminati? There's a lot more than meets the eye.
FOJCRadio, David and Donna Carrico, the dynamic duo of followers of Jesus Christ. Nah, we're just regular people. We're just loving and serving the Lord, and we challenge you to love and serve the Lord and learn all that you can about Him. We're preaching the gospel of the kingdom and teaching the doctrine of Christ to the whole world. And thanks again for listening to our programs, and blessings to all of you.
And welcome everybody to Spiritual Warfare Friday with hosts Dan Bidondi and Brian Reece. What's going on, brother?
Not much, Dan. Glad to be here on the Spiritual Warfare Friday like always. Looking forward to the program and talking about the blue bloods, man. Talking about all these blue bloods and all the different connections to do with Nefertiti. Yeah, Dan, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it is. So, guys, I'm sorry, excuse me, pardon me. I'm just like trying to get over this cold, so I still got, as you can tell in the sound of my voice. So, we got an awesome show for you today. Nefertiti and the Gods of the Blue Bloods. Basically, me and Brian's just going to be breaking down major occultic significance of the color blue and the occult fascination and spiritual significance of it. And from Queen Nefertiti, and she was like the great royal wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten. Is that how you pronounce his name?
That's pretty good, Dan. Yeah. That's almost dead on. Mm-hmm.
And blue roofs, the elite, as you can see during the whole thing in Hawaii and all that stuff, and we can't mention too much of that because of YouTube, but fires were happening, except for the houses that had blue roofs. Even the media says it's a conspiracy theory, but yeah, how do you have a fire in the whole neighborhood? Every house burns except for the one in the middle with the blue roof. And we're going to talk about that, blue avatars, blue genies, blue skin Hindu gods, and more. We're just going to cover all this stuff, guys, and very, very intriguing stuff. And me and Brian were just like 2 weeks ago, we were just like sitting there just talking, and I'm like, this would make a great show. Talk about the color blue and the significance of it, whatever the case. And we're not saying, guys, before we get going, because I know how some people are, haters of the show and all that. They'll say, oh, Dan Bidondi said wearing the color blue is evil. And we're not saying the color blue is evil. Brian's got a blue shirt on. And yeah, we're not saying if you're wearing blue or we have a blue car or house or something like that, we are not saying it's evil. Okay, I just want to get that out there. Now, we shouldn't even have to say that, but some people just get ridiculous. So I want to thank ShakeAwakeRadio.com and BeforeIt'sNews.com for carrying the show on their awesome, amazing networks. And don't forget to check out Esther Jades Ltd. They got the organic fire cider, good for the cold and flu, which I actually been taking. It's been helping me out a lot. I just got it I think early this week, and I've been taking this, and because last couple weeks I've been hit with this bad cold, as you can see last week and now today, and so you'll be hearing me blow my nose a lot, whatever the case. But yeah, I'm still getting over this stuff, but it's complete organic stuff, and they got so much stuff out there. The pain bomb cream, it's great stuff. So she's right now in the midst within the next couple of days actually getting a website. So the email address is right above Brian's head. It's estherjadesltd@gmail.com. Get a hold of her, say, hey, you need a menu, whatever the case. And they got stuff for everything, literally, for colds, flus, sore muscles, you name it, salts for the bath and everything else, all natural organic. Her and her daughter run the operation, and that's just trying to raise this company. Basically, it's a family-based company, and just try to make something, not just to make money, but the prices are great. And again, it's just she believes that to use her talent, to use nature stuff that God's made for us, to help us, And and it's working on me right now. It really is, because I don't know what's going on, man, but my family, a bunch of people I know got hit with this bad bronchitis stuff. I mean, a lot of mucus in the chest, disgusting stuff, man. But man, it's been 2 weeks now, and we're trying to shake it. So, what's with the color blue, Brian?
I actually do love the color blue. It's one of my favorite colors. And speaking of being blue and down and out, and there's a certain thing you talk about. Let's just say, for example, you said that everybody's, got this certain thing going around. It's possibly something they're deploying into the airwaves, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to say, because it seems like it's going up and down the East Coast. So just letting you know, even in my neck of the woods, and I'm like 16 hours away from you, and that's the same thing going on here. So, yeah, it's kind of strange. But yeah, what's up with that blue color, right? For the record, I do have a blue shirt on, like Dan says, and I use blue light filtering glasses that I use for all my shows because it helps out with the screens and stuff because my visual issue. These are literally blue lenses on here, so I'm always looking at blue, Dan. But blue. The whole top, blue. But yeah, the whole thing with blue, the connection with the Egyptian narratives, we're going to be going to Hollywood narratives, subliminal messaging, all kinds of different things that has been inundated into our society, and we overlook it, but I know there's an ancient origin to all these things, and blue is not something you can just find as much abundance out in the wild. I will say that to start off the show. You can't just go out and you can find blue flowers, stuff like that, but I'm talking about, on the surface, like elements. I'm talking about certain rocks, sapphire. You can't just find them on the face of the, just out in the middle of nowhere. You have to go in cave systems. So it's rare. It's rare to find rock with a bunch of blue incorporated with it. So we're going to get into that, tie that in with some Egyptian concepts.
And some Hollywood stuff too, like you said, cartoons.
Some Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Really crazy stuff, Dan. Mm-hmm.
So guys, we're just letting you know we're not. This is not going all over the place. We're just showing you the significance of these different things. You know what I mean? And why are they choosing the color blue? So it's like there's more than like what we have here. There's a lot more than we would be here for all night if we wanted to cover everything, and probably more. But it's just a lot of stuff here. And so before you begin, we gotta say a prayer. So number one thing to do. You want to do it, or you want me?
I can do it. It's fine.
All right, thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this broadcast. Be with Brother Dan. Hope he feels better. I pray he has a good, clear voice for the rest of this broadcast so we can get this message out tonight. And please be with everybody in the chat and be with everybody out there in this 2024 because it's getting crazy and rocky everywhere. It's pretty bizarre. Just be with us, Lord, and watch over us, and guide us and direct us. And I pray, Lord, for a good connection. And I pray, Lord, that nothing gets disconnected because of weather and we can have a good stream tonight. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Yeah. So,
yes. Go ahead, Dan. Maybe we're on the same page.
Yeah. So let's roll right into this, guy. So, and this is a very popular one. So if this slide right here looks familiar, blue genie. And if you watch movies, cartoons, and all that, the genie most of the time is always blue. And there's a significance for that, too. And as you know, this famous movie from, I think it was Disney, whatever, with Will Smith, Aladdin, and he had the cartoon Aladdin, a blue genie. And also the blue genie with the gold. See how it has gold bracelets? You want to explain that, Brian?
Yeah, so if you look at all kinds of stuff as far as ancient civilizations, Samaritan, Mesopotamian, and I've looked at giants, right? I've looked at Atlantean, and this is all tied back to some kind of symbolism or something to that effect with copper, gold, some kind of, element. And here's my take on it. It's speculating, but the stuff that I've researched on this particular topic is you see this stuff all the time in burial mounds. They'll have giants with all these copper bracelets. They're copper ankle bracelets. There's copper on their neck. And the only thing, I looked at it and I was looking at like manifestation. Like there was something there that was able to keep them manifested, like so to speak. And that's where I come to the conclusion with, because of these and then longevity. And there is healing properties and all that with copper and all that good stuff, but there was something different about the antediluvian world. And I could only speculate, but the stuff that I read and looked into, even you can go into Egypt, right? Even more, just the last 4,000 or 5,000 years, 8,000 years, you can see the copper and then the bracelets. And you always see it like in Stargate series, the Stargate shows, all these different things. And it's either something significant to do with social status, like their superior authority. But my take is it was to keep them longevity for long periods of time, and their bodies interacted with it differently comparison to what it would with just a regular human. That's just my take. So, but when he become a genie, I'll take actually this narrative. When he's a genie, he gets the golden bracelets. When he becomes human in the cartoon, he doesn't have to have the bracelets. The bracelets are locked into the genie's lamp. So you riddle that one, right? So he's staying manifested as a ghost like genie with those copper golden bracelets around his
it's like almost like
his
a
wrist.
bondage.
Yeah, exactly. So something to do with the artifact, the ancient genie lamp, and he becomes a genie when he takes the oath, which he has to sign this document or something. But then they wish him, whoever is the master of him, can wish and grant him freedom from this bondage. So that's what I'm saying. Is there something? Is it just me reaching here? Is there something directly connected with the Samaritan tablets, all these different things in ancient civilizations, and even the Aztecs and the Mayans? You see this in Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan. They always have like these gold bracelets or copper bracelets all through the depictions and illustrations, Dan. And one would wonder, right? Because when, like I said, when Aladdin frees him from the bondage of the genie, he loses the bracelets. The bracelets actually come off. The bracelets make him a genie.
Yeah,
so
you
it's
can see
just
him
pretty
bust
bizarre.
off like he was in bondage or something, you know, like handcuffs almost.
Yeah. So he has to do the bidding to whoever. So it's kind of ironic, right? It's kind of like he has superpowers, right? So he can do all the unlimited wishes, but then he can do 3 wishes per whoever rubs the lamp. So, you know, you hear the analogy, well, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, right? So isn't it kind of interesting, too? We don't have a slide for it, but I just had thought of this. Isn't it kind of interesting, one of the what was it, like, between the Munsters and the Green Acres and all the, the old television series, wasn't it I Dream of Jeannie, right,
Yep.
Dan? I Dream of Jeannie was a huge, with, what was it, I Love Lucy, all these different TV shows back in the day, I Dream of Jeannie, right? So when you look at the jinns and stuff and you look at the culture, they still believed, and to this day, about the jinns. The jinns are shapeshifters, right? The jinns can be a dragon. The jinns can be all these different things. Jinns can be humans, all these different depictions and shapeshifters. It gets into this big correlation with that.
And the slide you made too, like it's got golden bracelets as well.
Exactly. So my thing is like, well, the dream state, right? So you get into the dream state. I Dream of Jeannie. Television, right? It's telling you a vision. You're getting channeling. We can go down the rabbit hole tonight on Spiritual Warfare Friday, but I think there is something to it. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just all crazy. No, well, what about 2024, folks? What about 2023?
Yeah.
We're coming off the rails, right? So if I, said this back in 2019, 2018, these guys are a bunch of flukes. These guys are crazy. Well, I mean, television, that's what it's there for. Technicolor, all these different things, all these applications, rabbit ears, all these different things. And then the Jinn Demon slide here, I think it's one of the, the depictions there I've seen in different countries out in India, and where else was it too? A couple years ago, there was 2 dragons, and all the natives was like, Jinn, 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 because they was speaking to like I think it was some American people. I'm trying to remember if it was I'm trying to remember who it was. Anyways, there was somebody there that was only speak English. So this man was like, Jinn, Jinn, and all the other people was like, Jinn, Jinn, you see it? And there was 2 dragons, Dan. This was like 2016, I think, or something like that, or 2015, and 2 dragons going behind. You can call it CGI, you can call it figurative, whatever you want to call it. 2 dragons went into this mountaintops, and they're like, Jinn, Jinn, see? And they still, according to the Jinn demons, they would, the same concept. With Pharaoh, you give gold, silver, all your precious jewels, you give all your baskets of, whatever, harvest.
A lot of these people, Middle Eastern and Asian and all that, they're smart to the stuff. I mean, hearing them, what amazes me the most is here, you say UK, United States here and all that, we're supposed to be civilized, quote unquote, civilizations, right? But you talk to the average person about this kind of stuff, they laugh at it because Hollywood's disdained them. I mean, they just completely derailed them because they think everything's just a fantasy, because Hollywood takes real stuff and, of course, puts a twist to it to make it, to downplay the truth. So if you talk about jinns, guys, jinns are real. And this is all cultures across the world. Even Islamic culture, Middle Eastern cultures know that the jinn is a demon. And so basically that's where that's where genies came from. So if you think Disney came out of these things with their imagination or creativity, no, guys. There's a significance why, and it's not just Disney, but there's like, look, Blue Genie, Art Bazaar, Blue Genie, there's a bunch of Blue Genies. This stuff doesn't come out of somebody's imagination. This is not somebody's creativity from Walt Disney or something like that. This is real stuff. This comes from real world stuff. They put real history and all that stuff into what they also call as mythology. So they put it into the movies. And the jinn demons are real. They're bound to an item or something like that. Like which I didn't put the slide for this. I forgot to. Well, a Dybbuk box. It's a Jewish box, whatever, that possesses a demon inside the box. They made a movie on this and everything else. And because these demons are bound to this item. And some demons will come out, and then the jinn demon here, right? It's Romanized as Djinn, angelized as genies, invisible creatures, in any religion in pre-Islamic Arabia and later in Islamic culture and beliefs. Like humans, they are accountable for the deeds and they can be either believers, Muslims, or unbelievers, depending on whether they accept the God's guidance. Now, here's the thing. This is coming from Wikipedia, so this is what they get in their folklore stuff. But in the reality, no, these are demons. They could care less about doing bad things or whatever the case. They're not good things. And if they do grant you some kind of a wish, you got to pay a heavy price for that. So since jinns are either innaturally evil, well, they are evil. So they're saying they could be evil, they could not. They could be good too. No, these are pure evil, regardless of what this says here in Wikipedia. And Wikipedia is just anybody can write something up on here and make a determination on it. But in the scriptures, these are unclean spirits. Plain and simple. There's nothing good about them. They don't serve you at all. It's not for your benefit. And the same thing with the devil, man. When you say, oh, the devil could go offer me free fame and all that. Yeah, you absolutely can, but you got to pay a heavy price for that. So absolutely. These and it says that jinns are strictly Islamic concept, which is wrong. They've been around long before Islam was ever around. This goes back to ancient times. Jinn demons are demons. That's what they are.
Absolutely, Dan. And I meant to say Arabian.
Yeah.
Earlier I said India. Forgive me if I misspoke, but yeah, I mean, Islamic Muslims, they speak about these things. And like Brother Dan is saying, it's almost like we become ignorant over here in this country, that there's no spiritual application. And we literally have people in modern day times out in these areas, in Islamic areas, saying, hey, look, there's a jinn, right? And now, one of these days they're going to be like, hey, look, there's giants. Oh, wait, they're doing that. We're doing that in Miami and everything, right? We're doing that in Peru. We'll just brush it off. Oh, that's nothing. That's just nothing. It's because we've been so desensitized to reality. We're just like, yeah, that ain't been taught. The preacher didn't teach that to us at the Bible school or whatever, at the pulpit. They didn't teach us that. They taught us the Sethite theory, so we don't have to worry about that. We don't. But then like for example, somebody that doesn't get taught that stuff, they just come over and visit America and they're saying, hey, there's a jinn. And it's a giant 8-foot, 10-foot tall being manifesting into a mall parking lot or whatever. And they're not going to be like in shock like we are, Dan. Mm-hmm. It's just it blows my mind, man. It absolutely blows my mind. And
yeah, you get laughed at, you get ridiculed, because the thing is, this breaks people's normal reality of understanding. And it's like, and it brings to the mind of the interview you had on your show yesterday, talk about the Miami aliens, whatever they are. One of the people they interview, because people say, well, if they were aliens, everybody's seen these things. Why didn't anybody take the cell phones out? One of the guys made a good point about this. Now, here's the thing, and me and Brian will talk about this, right? If you've seen a fight, right, everybody knows what a fight is. You're desensitized to it. So you got to take out your phone and get some video in it, put it on World Star or something like that, right? But the kid made a point. He goes, when you see something supernatural, it's a whole new ball game. You're not thinking to take your phone out, because your body, your mind is trying to comprehend and register what is actually going on, because you don't see these things all the time. And this is the reality that's going to strike the world. If people are not ready for the stuff coming, guys, then, we just got done battling some, other Christians who try to downplay the Bible, to take the spirituality out of the Bible. Giants weren't really giants. They come from the sons of Seth, not the angels and all that stuff. And, all this kind of stuff, right? The preterism and all that. They take the supernatural out of the Bible. And so if people are not ready for this stuff, because we're starting to see it in the news, and that's only what you see in the news. There's so many other reports out there that people don't even know about, and it's all the same description. These things are starting to come, as Jesus says, as the days of Noah, so shall be before he returns. And if these churches and the people out there actually knew what the days of Noah were like, these kind of so-called mythological creatures will walk in the face of the earth. And that's why we've been doing shows like this recently, to try to prepare people. And even us being prepared for it, we're still going to be like bedazzled what we see. So, there's some...
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. Yeah. Keep the gin slide up, because I want to talk about it just for a few more minutes. Sure. So, not only this, there's the folklore, it's Islamic folklore, all this stuff, right? But here's one thing I want to connect to. You can look this up on Wikipedia. It says they favor snake forms, right? Me and Dan's talked about this. You look at the Nagas, the Naga history. You look at the Hopi, which we are going to talk about that later. The Hopi prophecy. The Hopi prophecy, they would take there would be the lead chieftain of the tribe would send his son down the path of like this river. This river would be in the Grand Canyon, which he would merge with this other tribe that was snake-like form. And the witchcraft daughter, I think it was a witch from the tribe supposedly, would give this spider serum and turn the lizard-like reptilian fair maiden, so to speak, into a Amazon-looking woman, and they would finally make the journey back and basically have offspring, and then they merge their tribes and share technology. And I'm not putting down the Hopi prophecy or anything like that. I'm not trying to discredit the Hopis at all. Like I said last night on the program, I respect the Native Americans and all their culture. I really do. I think they have a stacked ton of information when it comes into the UFO phenomenon. And I think if anybody in Congress or anybody out there in the academia world would just give the Native Americans some little slack and go back and look at the ancient petroglyphs, all this data that the Navajo, the Iroquois, the Shawnee, all these tribes, they know more than we do now. They knew more thousands of years ago than we do in 2024. That's just my opinion. So here's the thing. They also resemble scorpions. They also resemble lizards. And they can take on form as humans. So here's the kicker part. When you look at the Genesis 6 verse 4, the sons of God took the daughters of men and they bore giants, right? And then me and Dan, we've done programs and people's in the chat saying, well, how do they do that, Dan? How do they do it? Angels can't mate with humans. Okay. Well, apparently jinn can, according to the tradition of the folklore here on the Wikipedia. It also says they may engage in sexual affairs with humans and produce offspring. Okay. And isn't that weird? Isn't that weird, Dan, that this is literally, this has nothing referring to Genesis 6. This has nothing to do referencing the biblical narrative. This is just right off Wikipedia talking about the jinn. And then interesting, they can take the form of a human and literally engage in sexual affairs with humanity and have offspring. Isn't that crazy, Dan?
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you think? What does that make you think of? I mean, it's the same narrative. Mm-hmm.
And again, we talk about this all the time. What demons are, they're the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. And when the giants and the Nephilim, the men of renown, all that, when they were killed during the flood, and also after that, their spirits, instead of going to hell where they're supposed to be, God cursed them to the earth. Now the thing is, they're running around in the spirit form, but they still thirst, they still hunger, they still have sexual cravings, they have all the cravings that we would have, but worse than us. And they can't quench it because they're in the spirit. That's why when somebody's possessed by a demon, they do these nasty, horrific stuff because they're trying to quench these thirsts and lusts and everything else that they have in the spirit. Imagine running around for thousands of years, and I don't know the cleanest way to say this. You got sexual urges, right? Imagine that times 10, but you can't do nothing about it. Imagine you're starving, but you can't do nothing about it. Imagine you're thirsty, you can't do nothing about it. It just enrages you, right? So when they come into a person, the first thing they do is always some kind of sexual activity. They have sex with people, and the succubus, incubuses, and all that, the men and women, and because they're trying to quench that lustful thirst. And then when they come into people too, they violently attack other people. They eat like a pig, literally, drink all this other stuff because they're trying to quench these things they had when they were in the flesh. So, but they still have them in the spirit too. I know it's hard for people to understand this, but that's that punishment to be here. And these demons are nasty things. They really are. And so in the end times when they go to judgment, that's why if you remember Matthew 5, I think it is, when Jesus confronted a certain demon, set of demons called Legion. It was like thousands of them in one person. And right away, they acknowledged him as Lord. And they begged him not to send him because they said, don't send us away before our time. What does that mean? Because again, they were told they're going to be cursed to the earth until Judgment Day. So they were afraid that Jesus was going to send them to hell. And by the way, guys, if you think demons won't be punished in hell, they suffer just as worse, probably a little bit worse than you would. Just want to let you know, there's no demons and Satan partying in hell. I'm just letting this stuff out here. So they were afraid that Jesus was going to cast them to hell. But in Judgment Day, they're not going to hell. They're going to the lake of fire, which is even worse. So I just want to point that out to get people's misconceptions all on one, lay them all out and just show you the truth of what these things are and how they operate. So this is what we're talking about. And now jinn demons, there's many forms of demons. Many different forms. They have different assignments. Because the thing is, Satan promised all his angels and all that a place in his kingdom. And that demons with their children and all that, they work with them. They have assignments and all that stuff. And according to only what God allows them to do as well, too. So it's a big hierarchy involved with this. But demons are very real. I have encountered them. I've seen people possessed. It's not a joke. And people think, that's ridiculous. Really? Because when somebody comes up to you to tell you your unconfessed sins that nobody else in the world knew in detail, tell me how that works out. Tell me it's a psychological issue. That's impossible, and I've seen this stuff happen. So I don't mean to go off the subject, guys, but we just wanted to really hammer this home because we wanted to get you to understand that the spiritual warfare is very real. That's why we call it Spiritual Warfare Friday. Because this is very real stuff that we are dealing with, and you think it's bad now, things are going to get 10 times worse. You got these little things in the news about aliens and whatever they are, it's going to get 10 times worse. And so you're going to see a lot of this stuff, and you most likely are going to see the stuff with your own eyes. So we want to try to prepare you for this, to know what to do and how to deal with these things, and, to deal with them in the blood of Jesus Christ. Plain and simple. So sorry to go off the subject, bro.
No, it was perfectly up. Go for it, Dan. Go for it. It was on point, in my opinion. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was somebody put in the chat room too. Craig Hayden, DePaul's University nickname was the Blue Demons. So if you actually Google search Blue Demons, you'll find all kinds of companies and all kinds of things with genies that are blue. So it's not a coincidence. So moving on here. This is going to be a little popular one for those people who grew up in the 80s. And I don't know if it was in the 90s or not, but this cartoon called The Smurfs. Yeah, 1980s, yeah. So, and
this is a good one. This is a good one, Dan. Go ahead.
I think they made a movie of these, right?
They made multiple movies out of it since in modern times. Yep. The last, 10 years, they made several new movies. Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a little crazy thing, right? I knew this for a while. So they asked the person who made the Smurfs, why are they blue? Why do they have white hats? And why is the head Smurf, Papa Smurf, why he's got a red toque on? So if these kind of colors look familiar to you guys, and the Azrael and Gargamel, which they were the villains, and it was a guy and his cat. They were trying to capture the Smurfs, and the Smurfs were these like little 3-inch tall, whatever they are, and he wanted to eat the Smurfs, whatever. That's the cartoon, right? So Azrael and Gargamel are Jewish names. So there's a significance behind all this stuff. So if you take a good look at this, right? Let me go to this here, and hang on a second. Does that look familiar? A bunch of KKK people and KKK Grand Wizard. That's the head honcho of the Grand. Is usually dressed in red. Yeah, there's a red toque right there. So in the KKK, right, they have a bunch of people in white toques. You should know what they are. They're a hate group. They're a racist group. Just for YouTube, guys, just to let you know, we're not promoting the KKK at all. These are racist, hateful people. So the head of the KKK is known as the Grand Wizard. He's dressed in red, and everybody else is dressed in white. And the blue, what's the significance with the blue? In the KKK, there's a significance. They call them the blue bloods, basically because if you put your it's the best way to let me demonstrate it. So if you could look at your veins, right? Put a light on them, I'll get your veins out. Your veins are blue. So how your blood works is, right, your blood is blue, literally. And in your body right now, your blood is blue. It's not red. When the ear hits it, it turns red. A lot of people don't know that. So they believe, in the KKK, they believe that blue bloods are the master race. Blue eyes, the whole nine, and kind of familiar with Hitler said too, right? Blonde hair, blue eyes. Because there's the significance with this, the color blue. And it goes back to ancient stuff, you know what I mean? And which we're going to get into all through the show, but it's not a coincidence that the Smurfs, right? The Grand Dragon, Papa Smurf, and they had Gargamel. I don't know if you can see that little picture there, but in his cat, Azrael. And Azrael was what? The name of a fallen angel?
That is correct, Dan. Well, Azrael was a angel of death in some Aramaic religions.
Jewish mythology.
Azazel was the one from Enoch. But
Azrael separates the soul from the body at death. So the angel of death in Jewish mythology.
Well, and I want to point out too, real quick, Gargamel would be like, he'd be like, Azrael, he's always messing around. I'll get you, Papa Smurf, all that stuff. And he had like little red boots. So there's that red imagery, right? And then you have the black. It reminds me of the black, the POPE, you know what I mean? The Jesuit. That's what it reminds me of, Could you imagine? I mean, seriously, could you imagine? And then what's interesting, too, to point out is the newer movies that came out that had the humans in it. If you want to point something out and get real crazy with it here, we're going to go like Jinn, all these different things. And just like I did that program on Visual Disturbance last night, because I was pointing out, dimensional gateways. So the new concept of the new film, they have these CGI 3D, looking Smurfs.
Yeah.
And they literally use water portals to open up water and then come into the realm of the humans, right, Dan? I mean, seriously, the new movies do that. They're like, they're like, like they're all excited and they're a little like, Mushroom Kingdom. And then all of a sudden this water portal comes up and they're like, and then you have Azrael and Gargamel's coming through and they don't know how to interact with the humans that are in. There. Yeah, it's real weird, right?
Yep, there's a water portal.
Yeah, it's real weird. So there's always like the portal, right? So we have portals. We have the significance of, hidden messaging with names. And then you have the gnomes, the elves, right?
Look at that. Because you see the screen? There's a blue moon with the blue moon creating a portal.
And I remember the movie. The movie has like this. It has the zone in, like what you're saying there, that depiction, the illustration. And it has the moon. And in that movie, the movie, there's this moon, right? This guy is like some kind of graphic designer, and he has this moon, like that's for his like logo promotion thing, and it's a blue moon. I'm not kidding you, folks. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Here we are talking about blue bloods, but I mean, can you seriously, folks? I mean, how many times when like I've watched so many Smurf shows, and, there's anything to do with everything on there. I mean, I think it was a Hanna-Barbera. Wasn't it a Hanna-Barbera production? I think. So speaking of, Hanna-Barbera, I'm pretty sure it's who made it. We don't have a slide for it, but Flintstones. Okay, Flintstones have Blue Lodge. Bro, like literally, Fred and Barney be like, they'd be like, "Hey, Barney," and he'd be like, they go to the lodge. They have the horns, and they would go to their local
there it is.
bowling alley, right? The Blue Lodge, right? There's the blue imagery again. So it's Hanna-Barbera. I'm not trying to put down the production company. I'm just making a clear cut statement that you can go find this stuff out. But the portals on the Smurfs and everything, and see, it's interesting that there's this significance with what's her name? What's the Smurfs? The girl Smurf. What's her name? Smurfette. So there's always like, you see what I'm saying? They're like, wow. And Gargamel makes her, right? Because there's like no Smurfettes in the group with the Smurfs. So like, they're all like amazed by the Smurfettes. So it's almost blasphemous. It's almost like, you know what I mean? Like they took, some elements of the Garden of Adam and Eve, and they're like doing some weird occultic crap with it, right? So you see where I'm coming from, Dan? Like we have this wizard that creates a female offspring, but he does it in a lab and then brings it back and says, "Oh, he's like all nefarious, and he's trying to get so he can basically guess what he tries to do, right? You want to know? Here's what he does. He wants to get the essence of the Smurfs, right? He wants to get the essence of the Smurfs so he can be a superior wizard."
Yeah, so it's like a Nazi ideology here. The Caucasian Gentile, especially one of a Nordic stock. Hitler carried the belief that Aryans possess ideal look for Nazis. It also gets to the Nordic race, too, with the aliens. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, crazy stuff, man. And,
sorry to do my little impressions there. I didn't do a Barney impression, Dan. I usually
do the Gargamel one again.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Hang on. Papa Smurf. Like, could you imagine? Come here, Azrael. Like stuff like that. Could you imagine? I mean, for real. Come on. Can anybody take that seriously? I'm gonna get you Smurfs. He's like, there's a little plug-in humor. I can do it on Spiritual Warfare Friday. Thank you for giving me you took the chains off of me, Dan. You took me out of it, and I'm off the chart here, but it's pretty hilarious. But
Jason,
yeah,
Jason said the mushrooms have two different meanings, like a phallic symbol and also hallucinogenics.
That is true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the head of the that's mushroom head of the penis, that the phallic. That's what that means for people who don't know what the phallic is, and also hallucinogenics. But the Flintstones, yeah, this is crazy. They get the blue hats on at the Blue Lodge, even blue aprons.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally in your face, folks. And speaking of portals, in the
crescent moon on top of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and no, you're fine. In the moon, there was a delay. That's why I'm interrupting you. So go ahead, Dan. Forgive me.
Oh, no, go ahead. Like you have the portals. I'll get back to that. Yeah,
the portals and the moon connection, man. It's just killing me.
Yeah, I got the picture up here. And you can see the moon, blue moon, the ray creating a portal in the water for them to jump through.
And guess what? They want to inhabit our world. Mm-hmm. Think about it. It's the same dance. So what we're trying to articulate here is what they're propagating in the congressional hearings and why we're seeing UFOs. That's all I'm going to say. And all this nefarious stuff that's going on. It's the same dance. Mm-hmm. They're literally, and what's so interesting about it, they actually use water, Dan. It reminds me of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movie that came out. They have this as above, so below imagery. You know, there's always this water significance, and they transition into a new phase and go to another realm. It's always that. It's like textbook. So, you know, they're speculating that the aliens are coming out of the water, right? It's the same concept. And look, you got little blue Smurfs running around, right? So I think we might have some of these in Kentucky. I don't know yet, but yeah, I could go on a big tangent. But I'll give the floor back to you, Dan. I interrupt you enough.
And the next one is a big popular movie called Avatar. So if you notice how all the avatars are blue skin, not a coincidence. And you look through the movie slides and all that. What it is, like I've seen bits and pieces of the movies. From what I'm gathering, you go into this machine and your soul basically goes into a blue avatar. It's not your body. It's like you're possessing this virtual world. Is that correct? What I'm trying to say?
Well,
I haven't seen the movies that much. I mean, I just a little bit.
You're fine, Dan. So they're giant blue, like 8 to 10 foot tall beings, right? They're actually real, according to the movie plot and the narrative. They are actually alien that worship this tree, and they're like tribalistic, and they all worship this tree and connect to the tree. Okay, so then there's this, like, it's all sci-fi kind of narrative going on with all of it, but they want to study them. So they end up having avatar bodies that they genetically modify to make and put them in tubes, and they can upload their consciousness into the avatar with machinery, like you said a minute ago, Dan, and operate from a pod. But basically it's like uploading their consciousness and everything and operating it's basically like metaverse, a little bit further, with the VR headsets and everything. You're actually uploading to an avatar robot. It's synthetic and all that, and they mingle with the tribe, teach the tribe different things, all this stuff, and they want to get comfortable with them, so they want to observe. But here's the thing, they're blue, and they look cat-like. I want to point that out. They look lion-like. Yeah. Lion-like men of Moab. They look like a lion. They remind me of Thundercats. There are all kinds of different things I could think about, since we're talking about 80s pop culture. And then the tree, the tree of life, right?
Yep, that's the first thing that came to my mind when I seen it.
Yeah, and guess what? They want to. So here's where it is, folks. I'll tell you real quick, and I'll get the floor back to you, Dan. The movie is, there's two twins. Okay, one of them gets killed in the line of duty, and the other one's like some type of, the one that actually doesn't get killed. He's not military trained or anything, but he's an identical twin. He's a genetically matched to basically to operate the avatar. So they call him forth, but there's a catch. After his brother's death, they have a catch. His brother is paralyzed, right? He doesn't have the ability to walk. So there's an enticement. He loves the ability to have his legs back and his extremities. So he gets really into having the avatar and hooked into it, because it's genetically it's quantified, right? His genetically blood type can synchronize with this avatar. And he runs around. He's like, "Oh, this is great. oh, I love all this. This is awesome. I can become this, and I'm 8 to 10 foot tall. And he's doing all these things, and he's able to like mingle with the people. Well, guess what? It's literally, folks, telling you a story. To basically say, well, shed your body, and we can upload you into something else. It's basically programming you to enjoy transhumanism. That's what it is, Dan. And oh yeah, don't worry about your mediocre, body. If it's frail, if it's giving out, age, Alzheimer's, if you're getting, you don't have any ability to walk or whatever, you can't speak, we'll just give you an avatar. That's exactly what this movie's setting up for, straight up. And even on the second series, there's a second movie that came out. I only watched a few minutes of it and had to turn it off because it had bad language. But basically, he ends up in the first film, he dies. His body dies from injuries, so they upload him into the avatar that they made, and he literally lives his life, and he's literally bound to that avatar for the rest of his life. So he's able to wait, hang on. He was uploaded into an avatar body, and then guess what? Just like the jinn, just like in the Wikipedia, he's able to upload himself into the 8 to 10 foot tall blue-like creature, and then be fruitful and multiply and have in a sexual matter and fall in love with this other avatar woman, and they have children. And the children are hybrid because he has genetic code written in his DNA in his subconscious. So they're different, Dan. I mean, it's so sick. It's so demented. But it's Genesis 6 written all over it, and they're just putting it out in the Hollywood narrative.
Oh, there's a baby right there.
Mm-hmm. So there you go.
I think it's James Cameron.
That's correct. I wasn't going to say his name, but that's correct.
Well, yeah, hybrids, yeah, in the Avatar world.
Yep, true fact.
And not a coincidence, guys. It's blue, blue skin. It's amazing, isn't it? And it's not all. I mean, you move into some, Eastern religion and all that, blue Hindu gods. If you look at the Hindu gods, like, I forgot the name of the god of death, Shiva, one with the multiple arms and all that. So in Hinduism, they're gods, right, which are fake gods. And by the way, these things are either Nephilim or fallen angels. That's what they are. That's all they are. And they're not gods, but to them, the Hindus believe they're gods. But if you notice, they're blue-skinned. They have different gods for everything, and if you just go through the list of them, you always see this one. I think this is Kali. Then you get the one Shiva, which is at CERN. Not a coincidence. They're all blue gods. Is that crazy?
It is. It is crazy, Dan.
Yeah, it's just amazing. There's the Lord Shiva, Hindu god of destruction.
There was a boy, I think it was a gentleman, had a dream that he said he seen Satan, and he had an artist render what he was speaking on, and he literally the artist drawed like a blue-like figure that looked similar to what you're showing here on the Hindu god. It's like, yeah, this entity came to me and said he was Satan.
Wow.
And it made him feel weird. So he had this, it was like, he was supernaturally like just always in torment. So he got somebody to illustrate and draw, and the gentleman rendered something similar to a blue-like entity that looked kind of like lizard-like, but then like humanoid. So I'm just throwing it out there.
It's kind of weird too. Wonder why, if that's significance, the CERN logo and the United Nations logo are blue.
100%. Yeah.
And I know this Shiva here is gold because it's a bronze statue. But normally that's what it looks like. It's blue. All the Hindu gods have blue skin. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up like you like to say.
That shouldn't even be there. That statue shouldn't even be there.
No.
It's not even they don't even have that. They don't even worship that entity. They don't worship that. Nothing has to do with Geneva, Switzerland. That has nothing to do with their nothing. Zero. Nothing.
Yeah, it's a god destruction. Knows how it's coming to a portal.
Oh, absolutely.
They love rubbing it right in your face too, because that's what it's about.
Dan.
Now I believe CERN is going to be used to open Abaddon, Revelation 9 prophecy. That could very well be when the locusts come up and everything, the 200 million man army.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now we move to the heavy sauce, like Brian likes to say, Nefertiti. So you want to give a description on her?
So
I'm sorry.
Nefertiti.
Before you get to, I apologize.
Go ahead. No, you're
So
good.
this is one we just added in the last minute. We want to bring up the blue star Kachina.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, you know more about this than I do.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier about the Hopi prophecy. I was talking about we were speaking about the Hopis. So no joke, folks. There's all this stuff going on in the realm of things of UAP, UFOs, all these different things. So like, here's where it gets real wild. So like, we've done programs on the Blue Star Kachina a while back. It was like maybe last year, a year and a half ago. I thought I might have mentioned it. I think it was like 30, 40 minutes worth of footage that we talked about the Blue Star Kachina. But the Hopi people look at the constellation, right? There's a constellation Sirius, and it's also they call it the Blue Star Kachina. It's a Hopi prophecy. So what's so strange about it, I want to go down this rabbit hole. I can't help it. So they're expecting the Blue Star Kachina to pop back up. They're welcoming the Blue Star Kachina. Not only does the Blue Star Kachina represents a god, but I think, in my opinion, not trying to put down on anybody's traditions or whatnot. Like I said, I respect the Native Americans. I think it's a ship. I think it's like a craft, an Orphana, an Aoife, that kind of thing. But I digress. But also, the Blue Star Kachina also represents Thoth. Also represents Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl, you got Chichen Itza, and you have Thoth in the Atlantean and the Egyptian. We're speaking about Nefertiti, Thoth, and the Thoth had a big presence in the Egyptian times. So you're looking at the feathered serpent imagery and the feathered serpent and the Blue Star Kachina. They resemble, it gets down into some New Age theology, right? But they're referencing the serpent, and they get into mythical like teachings, ancient religions, etc. with this whole concept. But it seems like it's all correlated with the constellation Sirius. So I want to point something out. Me and Dan have done a program. We've spoke about Hollywood narrative this evening. Sirius is involved in Back to the Future films. There's all kinds of correlation with that. We have blue lightning in that film. If you remember, Dan, at the very first part of the video, Doc has the DeLorean goes back in time. It starts flashing blue light, all this good stuff, all this craziness, all these special effects, etc., whatever. But I want to point that out. The Sirius constellation, the constellation Orion, all these different things correlate with that film too. And it's kind of interesting that all this stuff is blended with this. They call it the Hopi prophecy. They'll say that like the white man will help us. So they're like literally the star people are coming, and there's something to do with this Blue Star Kachina that's gonna the star people and all these like adversaries and stuff. But then one day with the regular men that's not part of their tribes will work together as unity, as they'll be united, and it's supposed to bring on like this fifth world cycle. If you get into like cataclysms and reincursions and all this different stuff, there's a lot of weird stuff, but it's predicting of the united. So like Dan's talked about many times on Spiritual Warfare Friday, and before I even come along, the New World Order kind of thing. But they want a one order of a civilization. When this star Kachina Sirius, when it's dramatically apparent, they're saying they're like it's coming soon. Like literally they're predicting it soon, that it'll come in a night sky and there'll be some type of completion with the fifth world. And it's pretty crazy. They're saying that the human residents, the Schumann residents, will go off the chain. They're talking all this stuff about energy sources from the constellations, and people will be waking. I mean, it goes down a big old rabbit hole because people have twisted, once again, the Native American culture and tried to bend all these different things and kind of manipulate. And I think that's disrespectful too. But just for the sake of it, what I'm saying here, it's pretty bizarre. And supposedly it's supposed to come underneath it's somehow to come back around behind the moon, because you hear about the dark side of the moon. They're talking about literally that this blue star will wrap around the moon. So it's kind of interesting that we're talking about that tonight, but with the Smurf stuff. But then they're talking about it would be like the end of a civilization. Like our civilization will come to an end, and we'll have to work with the Hopis to continue on. Like we're basically talking, I know we can say this now on YouTube, like a reset kind of thing. That's what they're, coming to the conclusion there, Dan, if that makes any sense. But
Yeah,
pretty bizarro stuff there, my friend. Mm-hmm.
And the blue star Caccino, this is a Hopi prophecy, right? The blue star Caccini is a ninth and final sign before the day of purification, which manifests as the catastrophe of the Holocaust surrounding the world that will guide the earth's purification. And the blue star Caccini spirit will indicate the coming and beginning of the new world by publishing in form of a blue star. And it's by the Hopis, Caccina is a supernatural existence who symbolizes to have charge over the various features of natural world. And the blue star Caccina is real. It's continuous from the spiritual world, and it also purify it to the. I can't read the rest of that. It dislodge the negative energy from the earth and beings. So a little truth to that, because if you know biblical cosmology, you know they're not balls of gas. These are spiritual beings in the firmament. However, this is unbiblical. It's not going to happen, so don't be afraid by that. But this goes a little deeper. Now, if you're all familiar with the Freemasons, right, that star on the floor, right in the middle of the checkerboard floor, which represents equality and duality, right in the middle, and most of the time, see where that star is? They have an altar. And let me see if I could find that here, because I like to display. So in the middle of this floor, during the Blue Lodge meetings, not a coincidence either, the Blue Lodge is the first 3 degrees, the Blue Lodge members never see that star on the floor. Because, I'll show you why, Masonic altar. See the Masonic altar right there? That's purposely slitting over the middle of the floor. Right under there is the blazing star. They call this, which is also known as a Caccina star. This is also known in Freemasonry as the blazing star and the dog star. Well, keep that in your head, because they put this here because the Blue Lodge members of low degrees never see that star on the floor. That's the true deity of Freemasonry. This is good. This is Kabbalah as it comes. So the first 3 degrees, the Master Mason is the head, the 3rd degree, whatever. This is called the Blue Lodge before they move into the Red Lodge, and they'll never see this stuff. That's why they put the altar in there. And what they do is they cleverly put a Bible on the top of the altar, which has nothing to do with the Bible at all. And we can get into Masonic stuff all day long, but the this blazing star, the dog star, the star Caccina, it's all the same thing. It's a star Sirius. It's highly widely in the occult and in the Freemasonry and esoteric knowledge. And you can see it. This is all over Freemasonry, like big time. The blazing star is also, again, the dog star, blazing star, is the same thing. The morning star, it's all the same star. And it's a star here, the star Sirius. Now, what's so significant with this, right? This here is called, where's it? Let me see. It's Pleiades and Orion. So if you know what Pleiades and Orion is in the Bible, hang on, guys. Give me a second. I forgot it. Pleiades and Orion. So it's going to be a visualization, yeah. So Pleiades and Orion, right? This here is, I don't know if you know astrology, whatever the case, but this here is a symbolizer of the Great Hunter. Who's the Great Hunter? This goes back to ancient esoteric knowledge, right? Who's the Great Hunter? Orion, Orion's belt, the 3 stars right there. Oh, come on, this thing. All right, here we go. So these 3 stars right here is called Orion's belt, right? This constellation of Orion, it's Orion and Pleiades. And in the Masonic world, it's called the sign of the 3 stars and the 7 stars. And it's the bands of Orion and Pleiades. Now, if you read the book of Job, God asks Job, can you unbind the bands of Pleiades and Orion? What does that mean? Because this is a spiritual realm here. So when Nimrod, goes right back to Nimrod, here we go again, always going back to Nimrod, which is Osiris, Gilgamesh, whatever we want to call him, right? So this represents Gilgamesh, Nimrod, and ancient Egypt. So they believe that Nimrod, when he passed Osiris, he went to rule the underworld. And this is a symbol of the underworld. That's why Freemasonry highly almost worships this thing. That's why in Washington, D.C. and everything else, they got their monuments and everything all in alignment with Pleiades and Orion. It's all significant. The dog star Sirius. And I don't know if you all know the Washington Monument. We did a show on this. The Washington Monument, the Capitol building. The Dog Star Sirius comes over directly over the needle and over the dome building perfectly. And the Morning Star. That's what it does. And it's aligned just like that for this because the thing is, they want to resurrect Nimrod, which is the Antichrist. So this is why it's a blue star. This is all connected, guys. Every single bit of it. And it's not called the Blue Lodge for a reason. Every part of this, I could go on, just this alone, I could probably go on an hour. With the Pleiades and Orion and all that. So when you would look up in the skies, guys, this is another realm. This is a band. It's not just a cluster of planets and stars. That's a little legit place. I think Enoch talked about the place too, how he described this realm up there. And I think the second heaven, what it was, he described this in detail, what it looked like. In the occult world, they say the same thing. And in biblical, again, Job said, ask Job, let me see if I can pull that verse up, because this is all important, guys. Let me see, Book of Job, unbind the band. Oh, give it a second. Because this is, this is amazing stuff. Right there is the Bible verses here. So, it's Job 38:31. Can you bind the sweet influences of Pleiades and Orion? That's not the right version. Yeah, here we go. The bands, that's the King James version. So, can you bind the sweet influences of Pleiades and loose the bands of Orion? This is talk about another realm, guys. This is not just, this goes into deep stuff. We don't have time to get into, full details about this. But if you notice that blue star, the star Sirius, it's the dog star, blazing star, blue. And here's the thing too, which ties perfectly dead in to our next person, which is Nefertiti. This is what the show is about. So what does Nimrod, the blue star, will have to do with this? Because again, the color blue is very sacred to them. And back to ancient Egypt, right? Now here's the thing. This was taught in Egypt. So the Egyptian priests used to tell everybody that the sun was God. That's what they taught them. But the priests never believed that. They just told the people that the sun was God. Ra. They didn't believe that. In their secret society, they believed that the spirit that flew through the sun was God. But the hierarchy of Egypt, the top elite, the Luciferians, basically, if you want to call them that, the very top, the cream of the crop in Egypt, they didn't believe none of that. They believed the dog star Sirius was God. And here's where this goes deep, man. The Shemati stone, then now it's a blue gem. Again, right? So I don't know if this is true or not, but they believe this Shemati stone, the stone of destiny, they believe this is that every world powers possess a stone. And I really believe that King Solomon had this as well. And we'll get to that some other time to explain that in detail. But basically, when Lucifer got kicked out of heaven, Satan, he got cast out of heaven, he had a crown on him. And they said that when Michelangelo cast him out with the sword, it chipped a stone off his crown and fell to the earth. I don't know how true this is. This is only what they believe. But they believe that the stone has a resemblance also with Sirius. It's all connected. I got to explain in detail how that is, but that's what they believe. Now, this ties right into Egypt, okay? Because, again, Nimrod, if you know what he was a ruler of Babylon. The Egyptians called him Osiris. And his son they called Horus, and his wife they called Isis. It's Nimrod, Tammuz, and Semiramis, So there are many names throughout the so you take all these gods like Gilgamesh, and it's all the same person. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to confuse you all, but just trying to tie this into the next, which we're going to get into Nefertiti. And so, Brian, if you want to take from there.
I just want to point this out, Dan, about the stone.
Yep.
And interesting that the firmament resembles like the stone, like a sapphire stone. Isn't it interesting? Just throwing it out there, Brother Dan. Just throwing it out there. Just kind of throwing just throwing the fishing line with the bait on it, man. Just letting the gears turn. Wonder if it's something that fell from the firmament, Brother Dan. And then there's something correlation with that. Just letting you. Just
also the Knights Templar, because they were talking about this treasure. You seen the movie National Treasure? Mm-hmm. There was gold and silver, but the cult didn't believe that. It was nothing to do with gold and silver. The real treasure was that rock and the Holy Grail. So basically, that Grail is the rock. I got a movie on I don't know if it's still on my YouTube here, but by Adulam Films, they did amazing work on this, and basically putting the rock, which has that Tremonti stone, and the Grail, the cup that caught the blood of Christ. So basically, they put them two together, and it's got some significant world power or some kind of occultic power. I don't know how or whatever, if that's true or not, whatever, but that's what they believe. But this is a whole new show altogether. We should do sometime because I'll be here all night explaining it, and I don't want to go off the subject too much. But I brought this up because this stuff ties right in back to where Egypt, back to Nimrod, Semiramis, the Tower of Babylon, all that good stuff, which brings us next to Nefertiti.
Well, there's a real quick too, not to go down a rabbit hole, but there was a group of individuals.
Go down that rabbit hole. Go for it.
Yeah, you remember the blue. You know what? The base that you showed there with the lovely, or I guess I'll just come out and say it. The Masons, right?
Yep.
And isn't it kind of interesting, Dan, that the Indian culture, once again, I'll get into the Native American to just be brief. When they had Nephilim and giants that roamed the earth in those days, the giants they knew esoteric stuff. They knew ancient cosmos knowledge and everything, astronomy. They knew how to understand where the sun, the moon, the stars was and whatnot, stargates, all that good stuff. They had information. This is written down. The Indians found it after they would defeat these evil entities, these 10, 12, 15 footers, and they would pick up their technology, like their writings and everything, and be able to at least articulate enough to be able to have something to understand. So any kind of interesting that you have, let's just say, these gentlemen that come out of nowhere, and they're just random inconsistencies that the buffalo go missing way back in the day, that big exodus, and then all these Native American tribes just have to leave their land, and all of a sudden you boys in blue just set up shop everywhere. Come on, Dan. Come on. And did they steal? Look, let's just be real here. I don't want to go down and get people upset, but there was stuff stolen from the Native Americans. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to speculate and say any names. I've already said the name, but I'm not going to say well and point fingers. That's all I'm going to say. So any kind of interesting that all these things correlate and connect. So let's get on there's my 2 cents. Let's get into Nefertiti. So Nefertiti is a very wild one, folks. Brother Dana had some imagery of her on the screen there a few minutes ago. In my opinion, Nefertiti had a elongated skull. That's just my opinion. In the Karnak we did with me and Brother David, all of them, to me, their hats, they can tell me that it's for social status, queen, kingship, all the above. They can tell me all that. I think it was to conceal their skull. Okay, the suture lines and all that stuff we talked about. I think that we got a little bit of Nephilim blood, a little, fallen hybridization program going on up in here as far as Nefertiti. But Nefertiti was very special, okay? She was the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt, supposedly the great ruler wife of Pharaoh. And this one goes back, like I was saying, I always butcher the name. You're going to have to give me a second to find it. You said it a while ago, and I thought you did a pretty darn good job, better than I would. Akhenaten. Akhenaten is correct. Yeah. Akhenaten. There's a good old Kentucky boy in Rhode Island trying to do the best we can. Akhenaten.
Now it was to 1330 BC. She was a queen of the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt, the great royal wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten.
Yeah, and what's so bad about it is she monotheism. She was good around center of the sun disk you mentioned earlier, and the connection to like royal househood and with her husband. Here's what's interesting. The wealthiest, it was the one that they say it's arguably, and I've seen a bunch of ancient aliens, a bunch of different archaeologists say this was arguably the wealthiest time during Egyptian times. Like this was like the heavy sauce. I hate to say that, but the best time for the financial gain of ancient Egypt. So, you go on saying here's what some scholars believe that Nefertiti ruled briefly as a female king. Okay, there's a big old long name, and I always have a hard time pronouncing it, but I'm gonna try my darndest. I think it's Nefernetim Autumn. That's how you say it. That's the best I can say it, folks. Nefernetim Autumn, and that she reigned as the first female pharaoh to reign toward the end of the Amarna period. I'm probably butchering that name too, but I want to point something out, Dan, real quick. Amana, period. So I want to point something out. So during her time, supposedly was the wealthiest time in her reign in the Egypt dynasty. But I want, like we said at the beginning of the program, we mentioned about in the wild of like stones. You can't find sapphire stones just randomly laying out in the middle of the yard, right? Or even if you go hiking, you can't find unless you go to a cave or something like that. She was obsessed with blue. She loved the color blue for her trademark or make it iconic for her reign. All of her servants would get blue rings, blue necklaces, all these different things, and that was like that was her trademark signature for the Egyptian, or her Egyptian dynasty marker for Nefertiti, that she was obsession with blue. And she would send people from all over the place to try to extract and get blue dyes and whatever they could for flowers, whatever they could do for, different type of elements, stones, whatever that looked resemblance of blue, make rings, all these different forging. She spent a lot of time and money to pull off that endeavor. There's your blue reference. It's pretty bizarro stuff. So
you have little blue cats too.
In little blue cats. Speaking of little blue cats, so I looked at something one time about the cat imagery in Egypt. You see, significantly, Egypt has cat imagery everywhere. I remember there was a debate, 10 years ago. And then I went back and looked. I remember some people arguing podcasts or something. I don't know if it was an archaeologist or something. They had a guess. I can't even remember the guy's name. They were saying about like the cats, like why was there cats there? Spiritual applications. They said, well, was it there for, just a symbolism or whatever it was? But this is what I've come to conclusion when I've done my research on it. I look at it like this. The cat was used as a protector, not necessarily for like physical stature, but like demonic possession, that the cat would be the cat would shield the master of the cat, from what I've understood and looked at all kinds of awful stuff that I wouldn't even recommend. But it's just weird that the cat would be like a protector, like a guardian angel, according to what if that in layman's terms, a guardian angel to protect the so-called master. And if a spirit or evil entity would come, it would attack the cat. So then they would just go get a new cat. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I've looked into a lot of stuff, and that's what I've come to my own conclusion. Take it for what it is. So I want to put something else into perspective here. So the female king, her husband, her death before the ascension. So her husband's death before the ascension, we referenced her reign as the female king, but there's a gentleman, and I have to say it, man. I'm pretty sure it's the same name. I always butcher the name too. Let me see if I can remember it. Tutankhamun. Isn't that the same one, Dan, that Obama, isn't Tutankhamun the one that Obama went into Egypt and said, hey, it looks just like me? Isn't it the same character, if I'm not mistaken? Didn't he say that, Dan? Do you remember that? Well, anyways, there was an imagery of some pharaoh, and he's like, I think it was this pharaoh that I'm referencing, and it's kind of interesting. So Nefertiti ruled in all these different through this ages here. Through her tenure was from 1353 to 1330. Excuse me, BC. That's correct. I got it backwards. Well, anyways, it's excuse me. Her reign was 1334 through 1332. I don't know why it's I don't know why it's backwards. Forgive me, but it's backwards over on Wikipedia. But anyways, so the imagery there, just to bring in all, like Dan was talking about, the heavy sauce, her obsession with blue. And isn't it interesting, Dan? There's an obsession with celebrity status to this day with blue. Oh yeah, right, Dan?
Yep.
Do you want to elaborate to that? So there's this blue
before you
imagery.
do that, she, because this is pointing us out too here, real quick, not to go off the subject, but it is tied to her. Was the mysterious pharaoh Nefertiti, I hope I pronounced it right, was one of the most debated theories that Nefertiti's disappearance is that she assumed the new identity as Nefertutum and ruled alongside her husband Akhenaten as co-regent. So
that's it. Akhenaten. Somebody in the chat help me out. Akhenaten was the one that Obama said he looked like. So it's even worse.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's literally saying that his image looks like Akhenaten, and that's the Nefertiti's husband. So that's even worse. So just I didn't mean to interrupt you, Dan. Since you said it, and then I looked at the chat.
Oh,
and then
check this
randomly
out. Brown University. It's weird, too. Brown.edu. Take a good look at that. This is from a university. There's Obama. Obama, the clone of Akhenaten.
Well, here's another one, Dan. Real quick. I hate to put down on Nefertiti, but no joke, folks, and no joke, Dan. I heard speculation that she had the genitalia of a female and a male. I'm not making that up. I have
Hermaphrodite?
read. Yes. So think about it. Think about what we're saying, and just focus a little bit. And Dan's showing some imagery there. And I'm not going to say much because I like to try to keep it as PG as much as possible. But we have androgynous worship, and we have all this correlating, and I hate to go down the rabbit trail, but Dan's got Obama up there. Isn't it kind of weird, Dan? There's some type of similarities here that we're pointing out in this Spiritual Warfare Friday. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah.
And the elongated skulls, if she did have the genitalia of a man and a woman, that's sick and demented. And if, there's a lot of speculation about that, but wouldn't that be awful if this is just one big old disaster? Like just one big old puddle of cauldron of death. Just literally just straight up blaspheming, Baphomet, androgynous death and destruction is what I would call it. Just a big old concoction of explosion. That's my opinion. Just death.
I can't believe this is actually coming from Brown University. That's
That's
right
even
here in
worse.
Rhode Island.
That's even worse, Dan.
Yeah.
That's even worse. It's close to your hometown. Yeah.
It's like literally like 20 minutes. A little over 20 minutes away from here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember Obama saying that too when he went to visit Egypt, right? And he said that's when he said that?
Yeah, he went in. It was in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. He walks in. He's like, hey, they look just like me. Because they seen an image of Akhenaten on the wall. And he's like, it looks just like me.
Oh, the speech in Cairo. Yeah.
Why would you say that? Like, why would you say that? Like, regardless, why would you say that? Come on, Dan.
Oh, and look at the speech he made. He proposed a new beginning between the United States and Muslims around the world based on mutual interests. The speech he made in Cairo on June 4th, 2009. That's crazy.
Yeah. And all the stuff, I don't want to get too graphic. There's a lot of stuff going on about, those two individuals, the Obama and his,
Michael Obama.
I wanted you to say it. I didn't want to say it. But you know what I'm saying? So there's
There's a
all this
mummy
weird
of
stuff.
her.
Yeah, it's scary stuff, man. Yeah. Scary stuff.
That's
So.
a mummy of Nefertiti.
Well, is it? That's what I've always. Oh, real quick. Yeah, real quick, Dan. That's where it's all going to bring it in. No joke. I got to pull this in real quick. I think it was in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. 2016. No joke. They in Cairo. They took all the they started getting like the priest, the pharaohs, all these like high social status people, right? And they started getting all their sarcophaguses and their tombs out of the ground. No joke.
Oh, is that ceremony they did to open that road?
Yeah, in Luxor, correct? So they started doing this in like 2016, 2015. They started like getting small little excavations. So I remember they found one. I can't remember the particular name of the character. No joke, Dan. There was this bluish dark oil substance in this mummy. And the natives, they first, when they excavated, it was like, it wasn't the government. It was like some offset archaeologists or something to that effect. And some people said it was thieves, some type of speculation. They was literally taking cups and said it was the blood of the gods. And they was Dan, I'm not kidding you. They was drinking it. I remember seeing it, and like it was either on a like some website I had to look for in Jerusalem. I can't remember where it was at. It was something they was airing somewhere on a televisation, and they was videoing it, and they was drinking. There's the mummy with this puddle of like black bluish ore looking stuff, oil, and drinking. They said it's the blood of the gods. They was putting in capsules, whatever they could, glasses, whatever they had on them. and they was selling it online. They had to come in and try to put a stop to it. I can't remember the name of the certain pharaoh it was, but they said it was the blood of the gods. So isn't that kind of crazy here? Spiritual Warfare Friday, we're pulling in the blue blood connection, the blue moons, the blue diamonds, the blue everything. Everything's blue up in here. So what I'm saying, isn't that crazy? The comparison, the similarities, there's no such thing as coincidences. And listen, straight up, regardless of this whatever this incident was, when somebody opens up a sarcophagus and it's got 3,500-year-old blood in it. Listen, I don't know about you, Dan, but I ain't gonna be drinking out of the dirty pond. You feel me?
Oh yeah,
so I don't know. You should have seen them too. They was like, yes, it's great. It's the blood of the gods. It's gonna make me strong. No, absolutely not. And what is it? Where we at, Dan? I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. We played this. I remember that when it happened. We played this. The whole thing, and I know John Pounders did on the Midnight Ride, which, by the way, tonight, Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss the Midnight Ride. The links are in the description. But we played this, and we showed you they had caskets of these old pharaohs and all that stuff. The mummified things coming down, and they were worshiping them. Man, it was crazy stuff, man. And all this opened up a road that was there for thousands of years, I guess, or whatever, an ancient road. And it was a big ritual that went on. The whole thing was a giant ritual. That's what it was. And, the people celebrating that as it was like New Year's Eve or something, whatever the case. But you got to check that out. And it's complete satanic as it comes. And ancient Satanism at that.
Well, let's just say those tombs and those bodies, let me just tell you something. It's directly tied. I did a program on this. The artifacts that was extracted from Saddam Hussein's lovely museum that was underground in Iraq through all that big deal. There's 2,200 artifacts, Dan, to do with, seriously, resurrection, wizardry out the rear end, Gilgamesh's dream tablet, Dan, no joke, all that. 2,200 artifacts and scrolls, documents, all the above, and it took them forever to get that document. All that, apparently they got it all back. But 2,200 relics, all these different things to do with resurrection, Book of the Dead stuff we're talking about, and literally the Gilgamesh's tablet of the dream world. So there you go, folks. And not to mention, this all dropped right around the same time with this situation in Luxor, and not to mention too, I think it was in 2020 or 2021 when Hillary Clinton was inquiring to that Denitra Sutrana on that email, and it says, I want to know where Gilgamesh's body is, and I want to know where the Nephilim are buried. Come on, folks. And how do you pull that off? And all of a sudden, miraculously, in Luxor, you have all these ancient priests and ancient pharaohs getting literally, it's not just some kind of like, oh yeah, $10,000 parade. We're talking like $100 million, probably no telling how much money was thrown at this event. For, you know what I'm saying? They had the eggs. Do you remember seeing the women holding these eggs up in the air and so much symbolism? Oh man. There was.
You can watch the whole. You go on YouTube. It's type in Egypt revives ancient road connecting Luxor to Karnak. So if you watch the entire ceremony, everything Brian described is in there and more. It was like, when you watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, whatever, the times 10 or at least of what the amount of money and resources they put into this. This was a massive thing that everybody around the world viewed. It was crazy, man. And I remember seeing that. It's like the stuff they put right in your face. And then what they're doing is they're resurrecting. Not physically though, but they're spiritually resurrecting these things back, because Jesus says, as the days of Noah, so shall be in these latter days. These things are coming back. And so this is from Royal Society of Chemistry. This is actually edu.edu site, right? Talking about Egyptian blue. So if you study Egyptianology, they say the Egyptians sought a permanent blue pigment to depict their royalty and gods with necessary reverence. Here we look at the Egyptian achieved a blue pigment that didn't degrade over time. And the story of the Egyptian blue, when it came to wall paintings depicting the gods, deities, mainly early Egyptian artists had trouble represent the gods. Black, brown, and yellow and red pigments could be found from extracting ores and soils. And so colors of common, well, all common, basically saying. However, they were considered, the Egyptians, as too lowly a color for depicting their gods. So why was the blue so important? Where did they get it from? And they say the color blue, they wanted blue, which was rare and expensive. Hence, at many temples, the gods are painted blue. And the pharaoh wears blue in his crown because he is God on earth. That's what they believed. And which, when dead, he is shown as blue because he becomes defied as a god. And the idea continued into Christian times, and the color of Madonna's dress frequently shown in blue. And it talks about blue minerals, which would probably go into alchemy and everything else. But yeah, and Madonna, I wanted to bring her up too. But yeah, we got so many other people too. But which ties into these celebrities. What Brian was saying, these celebrities look at Rihanna. This is an article here. Rihanna pays homage to the Queen Nefertiti. Peep her latest issue of Vogue magazine. Now, she was on the cover a couple times on Vogue. This is her as dressed as Nefertiti. She's also got tattoos. And it's a couple different times, too. It was like one issue here, 2 issues of Vogue magazine. Both times she's dressed as Nefertiti. She really believes she's a resurrection of Nefertiti. And she's got tattoos of her. Let me see if I can pull that up, too. I should have had that ready. Rihanna. Nefertiti tattoos. Yeah. So those are the tattoos of Nefertiti on her. And that's not just her. Many celebrities got her as a tattoo. And so Nefertiti, I missed the link on that, so hang on a second. So Nefertiti is, I'll tell you what they symbolize in the occult here. Nefertiti, Benjamin Blue, Earth. Oh, it's further up, so I apologize. So, yeah, and now just real quick, too, Katy Perry, right? And now she's representing another, it's not Nefertiti, it's somebody else. Cleopatra, that's what in her video, Dark Horse. But notice the blue eye. The blue all-seeing eye, right? Crazy, huh? And Illuminati's reference to Dark Pady, we'll get to that some other time. That's totally different. But... Well... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Dan, but I wanted to, I hate to interrupt you, but it goes along with the Egyptian blue article.
Yep.
Egyptian blue, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure the embalming fluid came, if I'm not mistaken, either it came from, there's debate. I thought it was from Egypt. I thought embalming fluid, the embalming process came, but then from the Egyptians, but then also I have heard that it's coming from Peru. But I do know that Egyptian, I'm pretty sure it's documented that embalming, and I thought embalming fluid was blue, Dan. Is it blue? Maybe I'm throwing out there too much there and reaching too far, but I thought embalming fluid was blue, if I'm not mistaken. But I do know, please do. I'm sorry to
no, that's all right.
The Egyptian blue got me really going there when it's talking about the rare and the chemical compound there.
Oh, it's different. It looks like antifreeze, like red and...
Oh, that's even better. It's antifreeze. Okay.
So Nefertiti, I guess the tattoo, that's what I wanted to get to after Rihanna. The reason why these celebrities are getting tattoos of Nefertiti, because to them it symbolizes feminine strength, power, beauty, and devotion. So this is Motif magazine did an article on celebrities getting this tattoo because it represents woman power and all that stuff, because she was a woman of power, very rare at the time, and that's why there's people getting these Nefertiti because they, and like again, Rihanna probably thinks she's a resurrection of Nefertiti. Because if you don't know any better, guys, Rihanna is into the occult big time. If you watch her music videos, she even said on her own interviews that she was possessed. She said, "That's not me on there," or whatever. You can see eyes like rolling in the back of her head. And it's not just acting, guys. This is real stuff. And we did a show, Sold the Souls of Rock and Roll. We brought up Rihanna and all that stuff. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Wow. Here's a good. I just looked this up. Embalming fluid comes in different colors, Dan.
Huh.
It comes in different colors for every skin tone and discolorization. So to summarize, embalming fluid comes in different colors for 2 reasons. 1, the ease of the embalmer. No joke, man.
Wow.
I just wanted to throw it out there, bro. I'm still stuck on that. I'm sorry. I'm listening to you, and I'm like, but I when you said that they had the formula on that Egyptian blue and all that, and I had to go down that rabbit hole, man. That's really interesting. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, this Rihanna stuff, she is, man, I don't even know. She knows she's doing it.
Yep.
I mean, she's blatantly throwing it out there. And then people, gawk at her and they run after her. It's just kind of scary, man, with the power, the way that these ancient symbols, like you're saying, the Nefertiti, like she's saying that she's reincarnated. There's a spiritual application, just like when we went back and we was talking about the jinns, right? What is it, Dan? Could there be a possible connection that she could be harnessing some type of like ancient spiritual application that is causing her to act like this? I mean, let's just be real about it. Yeah. She's admitting it. She's wearing the clothes. I mean, what else do we need to say? I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, could you imagine Dan Bidondi running through Rhode Island and said, man, I drunk a blue Kool-Aid and now I become a Smurf. And you run around with the Papa Smurf outfit and you going around, Gargamel is after me. And people would be like, did you see what Dan Bidondi just did? And people would be like, man, he's lost his mind, right? He's lost his mind. But if it was Rihanna, oh wow, she's doing a different artistic level. She's taking it to a different level. And they would take pictures, and the paparazzi would be after. They put you in jail, and they're rolling out the red carpet for her. So it's just bizarro, man. I don't even know. Sorry, Dan.
Oh yeah, you see Rihanna, right? And as the Egyptian goddess, right? Same thing. Madonna, remember the Super Bowl, that disgusting halftime show? Yeah, she's dressed as an Egyptian goddess, and we just seen Katy Perry dressed as an Egyptian goddess in the song Dark Horse. So, what's the significance of this? And the Hollywood's all the occult and the music industry too. It's all about that goddess type stuff, all going back to Egypt and all going back to Babylon and all that stuff. Here's something too, and this is like, I don't know if it ties into this or not, whatever. But Jason brought this up because he showed me this I think last year because he was playing around on Google Earth. So if you go to Google Earth and you go to Area 51, it's kind of funny, right? If you go to Area 51. And this is the airport, Area 51. You zoom right down there. There's a blue building, which we're going to get to the roofs next. Now, look at the blue building, right? So, hang on a second. Let me get my slide ready.
I'm actually pulling it up, too, if you want me to go to it whenever you get an opportunity.
So, there's a slide of it, right? So, if you look at that blue building, let me just zoom down quick first to show you something. And so, it's a blue building they have with a blue roof. And it's got this turn, like U-turn type thing, whatever. But it's kind of weird. Yeah, if you notice the shapes that's in there. So I don't know if it's kind of some kind of a ritual thing or whatever the case. But let me get to the slide so I can illustrate what I'm talking about. So there's that building. Now, look, it's around it. It's a triangle around it, right? That could be a coincidence, no doubt, right? But look at this. What does that look like to you? That blue Egyptian eye that Katy Perry was having.
It looks like a triangle, Dan.
Yeah. That's surrounded by, hang on a second. The Eye of Horus, yeah.
The Eye of Horus, yeah.
And there it is right there with Rihanna, right? I mean, Katy Perry. There it is right there. There it is right there. And it looks just like that.
Crazy.
Yeah, and like I said, this could be a coincidence. I'm not saying it's some kind of conspiracy, but who knows? I mean, it's shaped just like an all-seeing eye with a blue in the middle. We could take that as a grain of salt. But the Eye of Horus and the Eye of Ra, and the difference between the two. The Eye of Ra and Eye of Horus are two iconic symbols that from ancient Egypt mythology, which is, I hate when you put mythology, because it's not mythology, it's real. This was real stuff. It's all over the hieroglyphics and all that continue to captivate people's imaginations today. And while here's the thing. Ra and Horus, right? Horus was the son of, his name is Tammuz. He was the son of Nimrod, which is Osiris. And Ra is supposed to be God, in that version of God, the sun god. So they believe that, the sun was God and Horus was the son of the, that's what the difference between the two eyes are. And it's the left eye. If you notice with Carrie D. Perry, right? That symbolizes the left eye here because of the way the left eye significance in the occult. That's why when you see, let me see, positions making the eye triangle. Let me see if that comes up. All seeing. Hang on, guys. See, if you see musicians do this, all right? And the significance with the left eye, because it's the left-handed path. Now, this goes back into Freemasonry and the occult. So, you're going to see most people, and most of these people are going to have the left eye. What's the difference between the left eye and the right eye? Well, one Ra and one Horus. Now, again, both of them go to the same place. This goes to the right-handed path. This goes into witchcraft. This goes into Freemasonry. You got the secret societies and all that. And this here, the reason why they have either the left or the right, it's always this or a triangle. You see, what's his name? Jay-Z. Let me show you that real quick. Jay-Z, all seeing. This is Jay-Z, and they do variants of this, okay? It's either triangle or some kind of thing over their left eye. Most of the time, it's their left eye. And the ones on the right, which they think they're on the white side of it, okay? Here's to try to really entangle this and make sense of it. So it's a right-handed path and a left-handed path. So the right-handed path is supposedly a good path the way God goes, which is not. It goes the same way, but it's a diluted version. So the left-handed path is straight Luciferian. That's why when you see portraits of Masons and different people, they always have, like Prince Harry, right? Walks around. Every time he sees cameras, what does he do? He puts his hand in his jacket all the time. What's that? What's the significance of that? Because he'd be left-handed, because the left-handed path. So in the occult and Freemasonry, that when you get past the Blue Lodge in Freemasonry, right? Blue Lodge is basically just, they recruit Christians and good people and all that stuff, right? So why do you think that Masonry and all that's about God? It's nothing to do with God. So when you get into the Red Lodge, it's a whole different story. You come to the Shriner's Path, they call it. So you get your chance to choose the left path or the right path. The left path will get you, you'll skyrocket through the ranks because it's all occultism, all esoteric knowledge. The right-handed path is so-called Christian that you get lied to every step of the way. That's why occultists exceed fast with Masonry because that's where they want you. So basically, the left-handed path is pure evil, pure unadulterated evil. And that's why they have the triangle, which to them is you'll see an eye. And if you ever see the diamond, that's what they do a lot too. That to them, that's the portal of hell. And the all-seeing eye is the Luciferian on the left eye. And the right eye, they think it's God. Their version of God, not God of the Bible. So know the difference, and especially on the dollar bill. The dollar bill with the all-seeing eye with the 1,000 points illumination on them, that's their version of God. But that's the Gnostics' God. That's the Kabbalistic God. That's nothing to do with our God from the scriptures, you know what I mean? So this stuff goes so deep, you know what I mean? And I don't want to take you guys up all night here, but this is all related. It's all connected. And the color blue, which is very entangled to this too. You've seen Katy Perry and all them with the blue eyes and everything else, and all Egyptian stuff with blue, So, and now going to the blue roofs here, now this, we can really rip into this because if you all remember, and one thing here too, things you should know. One more thing I wanted to. All right, so before we get to the roofs, right? The blue spiritual meaning, psychology, usage, and more. So basically, this is what some occultists believe. Now, there's many levels of occult, like New Age, there's witchcraft, many levels of that as well. So anyway, this is what most of them believe, that blue, all shades are generally considered to symbolize tranquility, freedom, loyalty, and sadness. Blue symbolizes the inner peace and divine across numerous spiritual beliefs and religions. The blue LED lights can be used to places in your office and bedroom to boost productively and increase calm. So it's a fact. Blue lights do that. And wear blue clothing, important events, to interview meetings, to project confidence and trustworthy. So if you go into a room, like, you remember the movies when they showed the whole houses? It was all red lights and everything else. Now, when they show the places with it blue, they have blue lights in the room, like the blues clubs. They have these blue lights in there because if you go into a room with blue, it calms you down. It calms you down and all that stuff. And the lights really affect you. This is real stuff. You know, and it's crazy stuff. And also going to the, we talked about Middle Eastern stuff and all that, to the chakras, right? What does the blue chakra mean? So the blue chakra is also known as the throat chakra, Vishuddha, symbolizes clear communication of self-expression and truth. It is associated with speaking and listening effectively, fostering honest and open communications. And it's located near the throat, and I don't want to get into all that garbage. That's, if you've ever seen the chakras, the 7 chakras that go right up your spine, it's for the Kundalini. That's a whole new story. We did shows on that before, but the color blue is very significant at all levels of the occult, secret societies, and everything else. And again, it goes all the way back to ancient Egypt. All of it does. And if you followed us, guys, for at least a year or so on the show here, me and Brian's done numerous shows on Freemasonry, ancient Egypt, with Nimrod, Semiramis, and all that stuff. That's why it's called spiritual warfare, and if you take all that into play, right, you're like, wow, it's all connected. Now, if you're new to this broadcast, guys, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and thank you so much. And awesome stuff. And guys, by the way, I only like to mention this once. We do got a PayPal, a Venmo, and a CashApp in this Ko-Fi site. If you want to make a donation to support our operation and our ministries, guys, please do that, because without you guys, the show would not be possible. The money goes to pay for the streaming services on Rumble, pay for the rent, for equipment that we need, and that's a lot of money running something like this. It really is, but the Lord provides either way. So if you guys want to make a donation, please do. And that Ko-Fi site that's pinned in the chat room, that's basically, you don't have to sign up for nothing. You donate what you want. You pay how, we had it for 2 years now. You pay what you want, and you use a card.
Muted, Dan. I think you're muted.
Nope.
You're not muted. Good.
No,
good.
all right, good. Thank God. Oh,
yeah,
man.
good.
It would have sucked
Yeah, I thought, because Harold said you was muted. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
All right.
Forgive
So,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, if that's just like, you don't have to sign up for nothing. You just donate what you want. But, yeah, we're not done yet, guys. So, yeah, and prayers are most welcome more than anything. So, yeah, we still got more to go.
Well, and I will say this, on the coffee website, it's also you can message back and forth. It is also a way to,
cool.
You can sign up for free, and it's literally like a social platform. It's like anything else. You can just get an account and you can interact with us. You can send messages, like we can drop like images and like have like posts, and I think you can interact. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people know how to do that, but that is an option for that service. So I'm just letting everybody know. It's kind of cool, and it even tells too when we're online, like we can integrate, and it'll say, "Hey."
It's almost like a Facebook, right?
Yeah, it's like similar, like a social media platform. Mm-hmm. But Dan, speaking of, remember that song with those 3 men? I'm blue. You remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know. You remember that? They painted themselves blue.
Yeah.
Maybe they had some insight, Dan. Maybe they knew what was going on, man. Maybe they was like, man, the lasers are coming. Let's just spray paint it. You get that paint? You get that paint from Lowe's? Let's spray paint ourselves. So I never could understood that song. I don't even know the lyrics to this day, but all I remember is like, I'm blue. Like the 3 little men doing that weirdness. I don't know if you remember that, but it's really bizarre. So kind of a little fun plug-in.
Maybe you should tell this story too, man. Remember
ahead,
when
Dan.
I told you about my friend Brooke?
Mm-hmm.
His name was Chris, but yeah. So guys, if you don't believe this, but the thing is, if you knew the guy, you would believe it 100%. So you can take it for what it's worth, because I know it sounds way far-fetched, and don't blame him, but this is what happened, right? So this guy, when I first got on radio, we met him at the State House, me and my uncle, my brother. So he became friends with us. He was, at the time, 60-something years old. And mind you, he couldn't even turn on a cell phone. Complete computer literate. So, but he had books, like tons of books, magazines. He did research the old-fashioned way. So anyway, he used to call on Coast to Coast all the time and all that. So he knew JFK. He knew Sammy Davis Jr., many of these people. He lived in their neighborhoods at the time, you know what I mean, and associated with these people. So when he was younger, of course. And so anyway, and he always had a different name, and we always wondered why, because his full name was never revealed, you know what I mean, his real name. So he went by this guy, Chris Randall, that was his name, and they could nickname Brooke. I don't know where that came from, whatever the case, but he was this old guy with long white hair, like Doc Brown almost having Back to the Future. But anyway, he started talking about Brighteon, and Brighteon was defense contractor right here in Rhode Island as well, in Newport, Rhode Island. They were running tests for mind control, literally. He started exposing the stuff. He was going on coast to coast, talking about my show. And then the weird things started happening. He said people were following him. And this guy didn't have a car either. He took the bus and everything else. And he was one of those guys, if you knew him, like I said, this guy would never tell a lie. He's just one of those people, just straight up. And one day he said that somebody following him. And he called us frantic. He goes, guys, you never believe what happened. He goes, I'm coming home. He goes, there was a blue light in the sky that shined a light on me. And he goes, I don't know what the heck it was. It wasn't a helicopter. There was no sound or nothing like that. So he goes home, right? And he said, well, we told him to be careful. So then he calls us later, and he said he's sick. He goes, there was a blue light in the sky, because mind you, he was on the 3rd floor in an apartment building, right? So this blue light shined through his window into his eyes, and he said he felt sick. Now, here's the wacky part of this, right? So my uncle gets a call from the hospital about 3 hours later. Some doctor claimed to be from Rhode Island Hospital to say, hey, your friend Chris Randall died. So he called me right away, woke me up, and so we're calling the hospital to find out what's going on. Rhode Island Hospital had no record of him. So I called the directory of all the hospitals, the VA and everything else, because he was a vet, supposedly, I think he was. But we called all the directory, and they had no record of it. The Providence Fire Department had no record of him going there. And here's the weird part of this. Me and my uncle and my brother helped him move into this apartment. He was there about less than a year. He had so much stuff. I mean, big, heavy furniture, books and everything else. It took us a week to get him in there, literally, right? It's from his old apartment. So this is the weird part. So from the moment he died, it's about 3 in the morning or something like that, right? Supposedly. So about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, right? We tried to call him. His brother answered. Well, we were just trying to see if he was really dead, whatever. We decided to call his phone. Supposedly his brother, now check this out, right? In the less than 12 hours time, his brother drove up from Florida. They cremated him, and they cleaned his entire apartment out. We went there. The place was empty. Complete empty within less than 12 hours. And, of course, no record anywhere of him being going to the hospital. The people next, the apartment, they had no clue what happened. You would hear stuff moving in the house. I don't know what happened, but it was the biggest thing. And my Uncle Bob, he's one of those guys that don't believe in anything, like the conspiracy types, but he was like, they erased him. Because he was in the military and secret ops and everything. He goes, they erased him. He goes, what the hell was he saying? And I was talking about the Brighteon, the program that was going on in Rhode Island and all that stuff, and all the stuff that was going on in Brighteon and the CIA and all that. And he was on that show talking about it. And he goes, they erased him, and which they did. I don't know how or what, if it was a UFO or a government thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was associated with a blue light. So I like to get into more details about that sometime. But this was the most bizarre thing I ever seen. The most bizarre thing, and of course we heighten our alert to say, me, my uncle, my brother here, to say just watch ourselves, because we don't know if they were coming after us too, So we were on air on the AM station. We, my thing is, I was always told to, be a high-profile person because it protects you more. They go after low-profile people, shut them up, and they know if they go after a high-profile person, if something happens to them, it highlights the agenda even more. So it's less likely they're going to come after you, But, I think it's just God's will that he protected us. But I don't know. It's kind of weird stuff, but associated with a blue light, man. So, wow. And then we talk about the blue roofs now.
Before you go on the blue roofs, I just sent you a photo I took in the sky the other night. And I will take it down back to 2011. I think it was in August of 2011. No joke. I seen something very similar. Blue light coming through the windows, middle of the night, and it looked like, I don't really know, just like a blue light, like somebody was having a flashlight through the blinds, and then you look up, I'm having this, I just feel like I'm laying, because I headboarded my bed's facing the window, and at the time, my wife, I was like, hey, get up, move, and she was like asleep, so I jumped up real quick and pulled the blinds up, pulled the blinds down, and something goes, just shoot straight up, and I see a blue light, Dan.
Wow.
Like literally. That was in 2011 of August. Like it was a bright blue light, and you could feel it. You could feel whatever it was. The ground vibrated and shot up in the air. So, hey, this is my backyard, man.
Oh, there it is
We
right
got-
on the screen.
Yeah, thank you for showing that, Dan. We got Space Force promotions. They're promoting Space Force around my local area. Signs everywhere. No joke, folks. You can't make this stuff up. It's like instead of selling roofers putting up their flyers up and sticking them up in the middle of the just random, they're at the gas stations. You can sign up for Space Force and contact some sergeant to inquire about the Space Force. But yeah, the screen up there with there's some imagery, my backyard, and there was clouds upon layers of clouds, and that blue light there. This was just taken just a few nights ago, not last night, the night before, and it based off what I seen, it finally went over top of the house, and the clouds was still there, and different layers of clouds, and this was later in the evening, so it's there's a lot of interesting things, Dan. Seen a lot of interesting stuff in the last 2 years. I've been documenting some stuff in the backyard. Cylinder shape.
What time of night is
objects.
that?
I think it was like 9ish, somewhere in that time frame.
Look how blue those lights are.
Yeah, I know. It's too, it's.
I mean, in the clouds. I never seen that in my life.
Yeah, this was 2 nights ago. And then I remember the broadcast I did back in October where I seen the red light of death. If you remember the red light that we showed, that was ominous. That was like some kind of it was dark. This was at 2:00 in the morning.
Well,
A huge dark red light over top of my house. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
there's a Space Force signs you in your neighborhood.
Yeah, you can go to the gas stations and there they are, just sitting there, just get you some gas and go over there and look over and there's a flyer and get a little Space Force action. I can't make this stuff up, folks. I'm like, Dan's got the proof of that too.
Yep, it's right there. On the
It's
screen.
just, you got that on there too. Yep. There you go. This was taken last night. I went to my P.O. box. My son was driving me to go to my P.O. box, and this is approximately at 10:30 in the evening, and boom, there's a gas station with this sitting beside a telephone pole, and I thought it was bizarre, and apparently my son, because I don't get out much, and my son said that he's seen these in the last month or so around our area, all over our town. So it's pretty baffling, Dan. I mean, legitimately baffling. And speaking of, I just don't know. I know we have an army base here. I get that. I get it. But when they've implemented new systems, new siren systems and everything in our area, just in this town, right? So it's really strange. They put all these weird sirens and they've been turning them on at 10 a.m. and they sound like an old fire truck from like the 1950s. And to me, there's nowhere else. There's like these huge they're bigger than telephone poles and they have solar panels hooked up to them. Dan, something else is going on here, man. This place is, I don't know. It's a bizarre world. I mean, you got Indian mounds all over the place. I mean, I can literally walk to a place where Indian Mound used to be. Now it's got asphalt and a slab of concrete with the house over top of it now. But literally walking distance, it would take me like 5 minutes to walk to a mound back in 2022 until they took it down in 2022 of November. And it's just weird around here, man. So I didn't go a big rant, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the sky, a lot of stuff going on up in here in the sky around here. I've been documenting some stuff since March of last year that's been pretty profound. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we moved to the Hawaii fire, for example, and fires that took place with alleged direct energy weapons. So a lot of the houses that didn't burn, they all had blue roofs. I mean, there was a couple that had red roof, whatever the case, but these were celebrities' houses. You look at the whole neighborhood's torched except for that one house. And it's a wooden house, they said. Happened to be a celebrity's house. And this one here we talk about is what's the name? Oprah Winfrey's house. Notice how it's all blue? Why the heck are celebrities all painting their Maui properties the same weird blue shade? Obama, Clinton, Tom Hanks, all of them had blue houses, blue roofs on the house in Hawaii, and none of the houses got burned. Amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go through the, there's a lot of pictures you can go through. And yeah, there was some houses that did have a red roof, whatever the case. But most of the stuff, everything that was blue didn't burn. The schools, right? All the schools, every school in Hawaii, in Honolulu, I'm sorry. I think it's 4 or 5 schools. I was looking on Google Earth last night. They all have blue roofs. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's like some kind of shelters too. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. What's the significance with the blue roofs? Oprah Winfrey's house right there. That's her property. Didn't get touched. Everybody else's did. So, here's the thing we're trying to point out is blue. I was trying to find a video too. They were microwaving different color clothes. And the blue was the only one that wasn't being microwaved. So could that be a coincidence? Let me see if I can find that video. Do you want to explain that a little bit better?
Yeah, so basically, if I remember the video, they had different colors of clothing and different objects. And the ones that wasn't blue, the cloth would not burn. The laser, whatever frequency it was, harnessing as far as the I guess the strength of the laser, it wasn't burning up the blues. It was burning up the reds, the yellow, the greens, and everything else. So it's pretty bizarre, right? So then, just to not even mention this, but I'm going to, the blue roof symbolism. And then after all that happened, after, everything got burned up, and they had like Power Wheels, there was kids' toys out in the middle of the streets and stuff like that. The houses were decimated, but like the Power Wheel, like a little Power Wheel truck that was blue, it was completely intact, okay? There was other vehicles intact, like that was blue. There was other things that was like a toy or like a recess playground or something was blue. It was intact. Okay. The house decimated, like completely decimated. So then, not to mention, and then to throw out was it 2,500 children missing or whatever it was? And they said that, that whole thing. And then, not to mention something else that was not a coincidence. There was, like a few days or something, they had the footage of the green lights coming down from heaven. There's like these lasers, they say it was just some kind of spectacular show. They was doing something really bizarre or something. That was like they blamed it on the northern lights, and then they blamed it on there's like these green lasers coming down and like surveying the so-called land. You remember that, Dan? There was like something in Maui about that. And whatever it is, it could be it could have been just make believe. It could have been CGI. Somebody made it from their basement. I don't know. But then they come out and try to blame China, try to blame all these other, the narratives and trying to just gaslight everything. And then voila, there you go. I want to mention this. If there's all these children missing, and then all of a sudden after they burn everything to the ground, they got the blue roofs, all of a sudden these men in black show up, literally, and darked out vehicles with no names, no signatures, no logos or nothing. They put up a fortification to say you can't go back to your land. I mean, come on, Dan. Something bizarre went down that day. And it's like almost same, if you think about it, they did so much to cover that up. It's almost similar to the Miami incident. And in my opinion, it's like, well, you don't see nothing, folks. This is, we're doing this, but you can't see, we're here in about a month. You won't even stop. And see, nobody's even talking about it now. It's been months and months and months, and nobody's even talking about it now. And my opinion, I think there's a direct connection, like you said, Oprah Winfrey with the blue roofs, all of it. It can't be a coincidence, Dan. It can't be a coincidence, Dan. So I think with that being said, there's some type of, you hear about the rods of God, you hear about these laser systems, whatever kind of nefarious satellite systems they have, Project Bluebeam, whatever the narrative is, something went down that day in Maui. Let's just face it. People was having to jump into the ocean to survive because, mind you, I'm gonna watch what I say. There was certain things that was turned off, certain mechanisms for emergency purposes. Mind you, a couple years ago, there was a system that went off that there was supposedly a torpedo coming toward them, and people jumping down in manholes and everything, like in the sewers, and they was in complete panic, and people died that day because of injuries. Something weird is going on here. The connections, I think it was 2017 when that happened. Yeah. All this weird stuff, all these weird anomalies going on there in Maui. Hawaii, something weird. And then now you got somebody that is in a big tech company building a bunker down there. You know, Mr. You know who, Mark, you know, and I always watch what I say, but he's building a bunker. So what do you say, Dan? I mean, something's going on here. You know, I'm not buying it.
Well, I think the bunk is, I know what the overall purpose is. Yeah, they want to survive some kind of a zombie apocalypse or whatever, but I think the overall purpose, because with the Bible, I made a video on it, several places in the Bible talks about how the world's elite, it says like the world's elite, the rulers and all that stuff, they're going to hide in the bunker, under the caves inside the earth in fear of the Lord, because when Jesus comes back, they're all going to scuttle to their little caves and everything else, and praying that the rocks fall on them to crush them, because they're going to be definitely afraid of the face of God when he comes back. So I think that's the main reason why they're building these bunkers. And here's the thing, I want to clear this up too, because we talked about nuclear annihilation and Armageddon. Armageddon is not nuclear annihilation. Armageddon is what the Bible says it is, the big battle. But here's a video here about the color blue. I couldn't find the exact video we were talking about, but this video talks about it. Let me see here. Hang on a second.
Because objects absorb all colors of light except blue. Blue color appears the way it does because objects absorb all colors of light except blue, which they reflect back to our eyes. When an object is exposed to light, it absorbs some wavelengths colors of light and reflects others. The color we perceive is the color that is reflected. When it comes to lasers, the color of an object plays a role in how it interacts with the laser light. If an object is blue because it absorbs all colors of light except blue, it means it doesn't absorb much energy from blue light. Lasers work by concentrating a lot of energy into a specific color of light, so if an object doesn't absorb much energy at that color blue, in this case, it's less likely to heat up and burn. In other words, the color that an object appears to our eyes gives us a clue about how it interacts with different colors of light, including laser light. Blue objects appear blue because they reflect blue light and absorb other colors, including potentially the high energy light that lasers emit. Blue color.
So yeah, it's a bunch of videos, and I think we were just frozen up for a second here. So give it a second here. Yeah, it's back to green. I know it's weird. It was when we talk about blue stuff, the roofs and all that, it started going red. Now it's back to green again.
Well, we gotta turn up the frequency, Dan.
Yep.
We gotta make it rain. We're gonna make it rain green. Let's just stop talking about the lasers. How about that?
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of videos on there. We try to find that particular video, but you get the point. There's a significance with the color blue that interacts visually and with other weapons and all that differently from other colors. And here's the true too, right? If you have a white car and a black car in the parking lot, and you in the middle of the summer, right? You come out to your car, and if there's a white car next to you and you've got a black car, right? Put your hand on that black car, you're gonna burn your hand off. You put your hand on that white car, it's gonna be warm, but you're not gonna burn your hand off. So it shows you that colors have interaction with the environment. You know what I'm saying? So that's why these colors are significant. Same with these laser things. It could be a big significance and spiritual too. And we don't know spiritually. We don't know exactly spiritually what colors mean, because when I was doing these studies, I forgot where I got it from. Like they said, you have extra senses when you pass on. In the kingdom of God, they said you be able to smell the colors, each color, taste each color. Because we got 6 senses, right, in the body. So we're supposed to have more senses than we do as a human being. So take that as you will. But I mean, I think there's a major significance spiritually with the color blue. And I looked on the scriptures too. In the color blue, there's a bunch of verses on blue, but I don't really find anything significance to this. And you talk about blue skies and all that stuff. And I didn't really get to look that much into the scriptures about the color blue, but I'm sure there's something somewhere that's significant to this matter, So let me see if it's still lagging now.
Dan, real quick, while you're checking that out, here's an old saying in Kentucky.
Yep.
I remember when I was a little boy, a little toddler, and I've heard this even in today's time, scientifically proven all these different things, saying that blue blankets, like if you wrap your child in blue, when I was a kid, they always wrapped me in blue blankets, and they said, "Hey, Brian's gonna be super intelligent because you wrapped him in blue blankets." And I thought that was really strange. I don't know. Maybe it may have been the opposite effect, but I don't know if you ever heard that or not. But hey, the things I hear in Kentucky is totally different realm when I, from when I speak to you and you're in Rhode Island. So it's like two different. It's almost like we live in two different worlds. But yeah, what do you say about that, Dan?
Yeah,
About the IQ level of an infant, of a baby, and you have a blue color blanket. It basically increases their IQ, so to speak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
their brain activity is what. Yeah, I thought it was really strange. Yep.
Yeah, it is. It's very strange, and I think there's just a lot of, obviously there's coincidence out there, maybe, but I mean, I don't think anything almost is about coincidence. But to finish this up here, I think again, we want to point out again, and I shouldn't have to say this, but we are not saying the color blue is evil. We are not saying because you wear blue you're a Satanist or anything like that. I want to point that out, and so we're getting. I don't know if you guys can see the. Looks like it's coming over the broadcast, so whatever the case. So we're still good.
It's still coming in.
Right.
Dan, we need to make a T-shirt. If you wear blue, we're dodging lasers. You feel me? That's what we need to make a T-shirt. I'm wearing blue because I'm dodging lasers. How about that?
It's funny. After Hawaii fire, a lot of people woke up to this stuff. So it makes you wonder how many people went out and painted their roofs blue.
Yeah. Well, I do see when I'm out and about, I do see a lot of more blue roofs. I don't know about shingles, but I see like metal roofs, commercial buildings with blue roofs. Kind of strange. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let me see if it's still lagging. Sorry, guys, if it's lagging on your end, because right now I'm getting red light on the streaming. So if it's lagging on your end, we apologize. But the cool thing is, like later on when you watch us, if it's not live, it fixes itself. So, do you want to take some calls and stuff? Are you done with your presentation?
Yeah, Dan. I think calls would be great.
Let's do this. So there's the phone number, guys, 512-547-1776. Man, thank you guys for the donations that came in, and we appreciate it very much. Let me see, 1776. So there's the phone number in the chat room and also on the screen. So give us a call on how this works, guys. If you call and we deny the call, don't keep calling back. We'll have your number in queue and we'll call you back. Because it interrupts the caller at the time. So we'll see if Brother Tim be the first one to call. He usually does. It's like, woo. Yeah, my voice is holding up pretty good, I think.
That's good, Dan. Yeah, I've noticed that. Next time we get together and we actually like fellowship in the flesh, I'm going to buy some tarps and we're going to wear them out in public. And I'm going to do a visual disturbance program, like, hey, we're having a visual disturbance with 2 tarps,
Yeah.
Hey, we're dodging lasers, boys,
We're dodging lasers down in Kentucky. Mr. Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, guys, I want to clear something up, too. And I was talking to John Pound. So guys, there's a lot of rumors going around. Hang on a second. Hey, hold on one second, Tim. Yep. So, guys, I want to address this real quick because a lot of people have been asking me about this, and it's really not my place to say, so I'm not going to give information, but everybody keeps asking what happened to Brother John Hall and Patricia Hall, so with their shows and everything. I just want to make one thing clear. He left on his own accord. He's not doing no shows. Nobody fired him. He has no bad blood with anybody or anything like that. There's no heat with anybody like that. He's still got love for us. We got love for him. It's nothing to do with any of that stuff. So he left on his own accord. For the reason why me, John, and Brian don't even know either. But there's something going on, and we ask you just pray for John and Patricia. But it's not my place to say what is going on, even if I did know. But just be assured, he did not get fired from ICTV and anything like that. He left on his own accord. He done away with his own show, too. So I just want to clear that up because I've been seeing controversial comments in these chat rooms and everything else that, Nice TV fired him. No, none of that's true. None at all. He left on his own accord. So I'm just going to address that and leave it at that. So I'm sorry, Tim. How you doing, brother?
Hey, that's no problem. Hey, doing good. How are you and Brian doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Hanging in there.
Doing good, Brian?
Hanging in there.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! You forgot your woo.
Yeah, it's not really a big, energetic woo night, but yeah, I'm wooing for you. Just the icebreaker. Just want to praise Father and praise Jesus. He's still working. Things getting better. Just want to, give him praise. And, of course, your show's great as always. Thanks, guys. And everybody in the chat, I hope you're all blessed. I send all my love and peace. And remember, don't let the world kill the little boy or girl inside of you, because that child holds all your faith and your passion, your promise, and everything. That little kid, your purpose, everything's in that kid and the entrance to heaven. So don't let the world destroy the little boy and girl inside of you. Grow up, be a man and woman, take care of your responsibilities, but don't let that kid die. But that's it. Love to everybody. Have a great night, and I'll let someone else call in.
You too, brother. Love you, man.
Yeah, be blessed.
All right, love you too, bro. Bye. Bye, Brian.
Woo! Woo! There you go.
Yeah. All right.
God bless. All right, so guys, anybody else want to call? Yeah, it's like it gives and takes, man. Like some weeks we get like 13, 14 calls in a row, and sometimes like nobody's calling in yet. So yeah, give us a call, guys. Even if it's not on the subject or you want to add something to the show or whatever the case. And this is Brother Mike. So we actually caught you on the first ring.
Oh, cool. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Wow. Sadly, I watched that dumb Avatar movie back in 2009, but I haven't watched it since. And it's like you guys are saying, I thought, dude, it's brainwashing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. In Hollywood and everything.
I know. Well, you could call Hollywood helly weird.
Yeah.
So.
So, what do you think? What do you think about the blue here? I mean, just you see any significance at all, anything? Or?
Weren't there blue ribbons in when men used to wear prayer shawls?
Huh.
I think there was.
Not sure.
So Jesus wore a prayer shawl.
Didn't he, one of his teas eats, whatever? They were blue, right?
Yep, I think so.
That is correct.
So
man.
they like the color blue. What is there some occult significance to the color blue?
Well, here's the thing too, and now there's what is that called? Teasits, right? I can't even pronounce it right. Teasits, the tassel.
Oh yes.
His tassels he wore, and it was blue. So here's the thing too with the occult, right? Everything in the occult is a copycat, but mirror perverted, twisted version of what's of God. So this could very well, because remember when the woman who wanted to get clean and she couldn't get to Jesus because there was crowds everywhere, and she was struggling through the crowd because if I could only touch his tassel, I'll be made clean. So
yeah, she touched the hem of his garment, which means that blue tassels that he had. Yeah.
So maybe there's some kind of a significance, like power in the, through Jesus, of course, but through the tassels. And I think that's like spiritually significant. And of course, the occult would take that and put it to their own twisted, perverted version of that.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't there? Jesus said, "You'll do greater things than I did," and then it says in the book of Acts, didn't Peter's shadow, it fell on sick people and they were healed?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's weird. They showed a commercial with The Rock and Oprah, and they were talking about saving money, and I'm thinking, Oprah's a billionaire, The Rock's a millionaire. I mean, like, I want to listen to what they're going to say.
Yeah. Yeah, telling everybody to donate money. Oh yeah, him and they're billionaires actually, and I think she's a billionaire. He's whatever the case. But these people got much money, and they're telling people to donate to Hawaii. Oprah, right? She could fix Hawaii by herself and still have plenty of money left over.
I know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
I'm waiting for this page to load here, but I found the Yeshua Jesus wear tizits and the traditional blue, as I speak into the Israelites at the time, throughout the generations to come, you are making fringes, which is tizits, on the corners of the garments with blue. So I think there is like some kind of significance to this. Blue and white.
Yeah, there's...
Actually, if you look at that, right, we were showing earlier, blue and white. If you look at the CERN logo, the United Nations logo, and all that, it's blue and white, blue and white. And again, everything in culture.
Oh, shoot! Even the Israeli flag is blue and white.
Oh yeah.
Of course, that's a Star of Their God Remphan.
Yep.
They need to repent and turn to Jesus, and so does this country. Oh boy.
So UN flag, we'll show you this. It's blue and white. Israeli flag, blue and white.
Mm-hmm.
And what else we say? CERN.
Oh yeah, CERN.
It's blue and white.
What are they trying to do with CERN? I thought, yeah, they're opening up portals. They shouldn't be messing with stuff.
Yeah. And what I seen too was a blue portal too, right? Remember that, Brian? It was
absolutely
a blue portal in the sky. The other not too long ago.
December 23rd, Dan.
December 23rd.
December 23rd. Two portals opened up over top of Geneva, Switzerland. You send it to me on Instagram if you want to show it.
Yeah.
Just letting you know. I got a memory like a steel trap, Dan. Yeah, December 23rd was when the footage was supposedly taken. Yeah.
I mean, people are biblically ignorant, but like when they talk about the third temple and sacrifice, it's like your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, and Jesus' sacrifice was good enough. You don't need to do animal sacrifices.
Yep. And you look at that too, CERN, right? In the middle of it, it's blue and white. That's
wow.
Crazy. And there's
the
portal in the sky that opened up over CERN was blue.
I was listening to a guy, he's a Christian, Beckett Cook, and I commented on, what did I say? I said, repent and believe the gospel. Everybody needs Jesus. Only Jesus can save lost sinners. Jesus wins, the devil loses. Be on Jesus' side. Mm-hmm. And this idiot, I didn't respond to him, but he says, well, God doesn't exist, so that pretty much solves it. And it's like, these idiots, number one, they lie, and they just like to argue.
Yeah.
Jeez. And then I was thinking, I talked to my aunt tonight, she's a Christian, and I thought, well, pray for the dummy.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry, guys. Well, the stream is lagging, so apologize about that.
Oh, that's okay. I'm glad you were able to get a hold of me tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Wow. I can pray with you guys before I let you go.
Yes, please. Thank you.
God, just be with Dan and just help him. And God, he's sick, and please just touch him and heal him, let him feel better. And thanks, God, for letting him recover from his stroke and keep him safe when he waitless. And God, just help Dan's brother Jason, help Jason with his channel. And God, just be with Brian, and God, help Brian with his health problems that he has. Touch him and heal his body. And God, please help Brian's dad. Please heal Brian's dad of cancer. And God, you can do anything, and please touch him and heal him in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you, brother. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
I read Isaiah 41 today, and it wasn't my verse of the day, but there's a verse in there that I love. It says, "For I, the Lord thy God, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, I will help thee."
Nice.
Yeah, I need God to hold my hand right now. How about you guys?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So, hey, thanks, guys.
Thank you, brother.
Be blessed, Mike.
Yep. Love you.
Love you too, brother.
Alrighty.
Yeah, see how that just comes to your head? Like and when he called it, just jarred your memory. You know, the Israeli flag, the UN flags, blue CERN, all blue and white flags and logos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, it's amazing, it really is. And yeah.
100%. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy. And a blue and white with the Egyptian, which highlights the blue, by the way. The white just outlines it. So it's just amazing when you make all these connections. And again, I'm not gonna say it again, but one last time, it doesn't mean blue's evil, guys. So it doesn't mean if you wear blue you're evil or invoking some kind of evil. Because I know people take it to a whole new level of stupidity. You know what I mean? So we gotta stop you there with that. So, but yeah, and it makes sense because I guess I'm trying to open this page explaining why the tzitzits were blue of Jesus, right? And it makes sense now. It really does because, and I'm sure if we look into the deep aspects of the occult, you're going to find that somewhere. That because again, the New Ages especially, they like to take things of Jesus and take it to a whole new level that's not there. So there's a significance with the blue. And, for whatever reason, there's a power in his garment and his tzitzit, which we know it's to him, you know what I mean? And but there's a reason, what's the whole reason that he wore the tzitzit for? Brian?
Are you there, Dan?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't even hear you there, man. For like the last 5 minutes, I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, why is everything freezing up? What'd you ask me?
Is there a significance? What's the main reason why Jesus wore the tzitzit for?
It symbolisms like the Torah, like the commandments of God. Like I think it goes back to, I'm trying to remember the verse, Numbers 15:39. I can pull it up real quick. I remember that's what I remember. Let me pull it up real quick, or you can.
Who? Oh, Joy, yeah, definitely call in and sing. We love to hear you, Joy.
I can read it to make sure that everybody verifies. Yeah, it's for the commandments, that you submit yourself to the commandments. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it.
Hold on 1 second, Joy. Good. 1 second, Joy.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
And remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, and that ye seek not after your heart and your own eyes, after which you use to go whoring. And then it goes on, that ye may remember and do all the commandments, and be holy unto your God. And I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God, and I am your Lord, your God. Just wanted to throw it out there. Yeah. It's zeets.
Zeets.
Yeah.
There's no zeets. So how you doing, Joy? Joy Trillo, how's it going?
Yes. Hi, Brother Dan. I'm blessed beyond understanding.
You too.
Yes.
So you want to sing us a song?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let her rip. Brian will get the guitar out and
let her rip and let her fly.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Have we trials and temptations? Is there trouble anywhere? We should never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we have a friend so faithful who will our sorrows share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. He's our true blue by you.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Joy.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
I love you all.
I love you too, sister. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to all.
Thank you. That was awesome. Yeah, so, yeah, if anybody else wants to call in, probably take one more phone call and call it a night. I'm just like feeling under the weather. So
Bill O'Connell, if Bill O'Connell calls, we have to talk about the weather. I
Yeah.
think if you remember Bill O'Connell's phone number, just call him and be like, hello, welcome to the Weather Warfare Friday. We are going to report high wind damage and your roof be blowed off if it's not blue. And you won't lose your job. You won't lose your job if you work at a gas station and you are a well-devoted Christian to Jesus Christ.
yeah, the gas station in Boston. Oh, he said he called in, but he said he's on thin ice.
Yeah,
walking on
they're giving him a
eggshells or
hard
something.
time. No, I remember, I think it was something, I don't know if I seen a comment on here or it was on social media that he has to talk about the weather. So that's why I'm making a reference to talking about the weather. Yeah.
Oh, Brother Craig.
Yeah.
How you doing, brother? You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Brother Dan?
Oh,
Brother
pretty
Brian?
good. Thank you for
Hey,
the phone
Craig.
call, Greg.
Yeah. I wear Z seats. You put them, like, I just wanted to add that you, like, wear 4 of them. You put them on the corners of your blue jean loops or whatever kind of pants you have. That's what I do. And one of the colors has to be blue. Most I think wear blue and white, but I'd wear like blue and gray. And there's really no command that wear 'em, like how many times you're supposed to wear them or whatever. But I just thought I would add that. And also I was thinking about the color blue, occultic. Well, I don't know if I remember another cartoon that featured like blue and red, which was G.I. Joe. I remembered the Cobra Commander and his Cobra soldiers
Oh, yeah.
wore blue and red, and that got to make me think of a while ago, well, what if that signified Masonic colors like the Blue Lodge and the Red Lodge?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just something I thought of.
That's exactly right,
And,
Craig. Yeah. Remember, he's like, go back and manda. You know, he's going on. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. They have what's his name? Serpentine or, was it, Sinestro and Serpentine or something like that. There's like the snake imagery. There's these snake like people that live under the ground, all this stuff. Even Cobra's a snake. So there you go. It kind of ties into the program tonight when we was talking about the Nagas and the Hopi prophecy with the serpent-like people that live underground. It's all tied to it. And G.I. Joe is a very, very good example of the predictive programming. Good catch, Brother Craig. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, it's just like all my childhood TV shows I grew up with. They turn out to be occultic or or pagan or what have you. When you start digging in and listening to programs, it kind of destroys your childhood memories of watching cartoons.
I apologize, Craig, that we did that to you. I'm
But
just messing with you.
yeah, I remember on speaking about bunkers and everything, but I remember watching a episode of Governor Jesse Ventura's old show, Conspiracy Theory, and he went into a airport called the New World Airport in Denver, and it had a Masonic symbol on the I guess the founding block.
Yeah.
And apparently there was rumors that under the tunnels, if a person was perceptive enough of the images and the it looked like a I don't know if it was some kind of statue above the door. It was very demonic looking.
Oh yeah, the blue horse.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that might have been it. Yeah.
I got it right here on the internet. Let me put it up on the screen here. Yeah, the blue. Anyway, the mouse keeps jumping. Yeah, it's crazy. The blue horse statue at the Denver airport.
Yeah, and I think if someone was perceptive enough, they could go in down to the allegedly there may be a bunker under the airport, which I can't really confirm that or anything, but that just made me think of the New World Airport. That was really a spooky looking airport. I wouldn't go there.
Guess what the name of it is? The horse.
Yeah.
It's called Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Yeah, Lucifer, but blue with the B. Lucifer. That's the name of the horse. That's on the media was reporting somebody vandalized it, and they say Denver Airport confirms Lucifer, large blue horse sculpted vandalized.
Yeah, that's just so freaky looking. I can see it. That's just wow. But well, that's all I had, and I just want to wish both of you Shabbat Shalom, and I hope you get over your cold, Brother Dan.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, God bless.
You too, brother. God bless you.
Be blessed. Be blessed, Craig.
Well, that's another one, man. Like this stuff just keeps coming. I forgot completely about this horse. The blue. I don't think that's significant anymore. The horseman. I don't remember no blue horse, but there's gonna be some significance with that. And they call it Lucifer, but with the B at the beginning. You know, Lucifer, Lucifer. This is mainstream media reporting it. That's the name of the horse, the statue. The blue Mustang. That's what it's called. You know, the horse called Lucifer.
Yeah.
Why would you?
What? Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I'm just baffled.
Yeah, the airport alone is a Waskaga. It's a Swastiga. It's a Nazi. It's a, you know that, right? Denver Airport, aerial view of it.
Yeah.
It's just built like a swastika. Mm-hmm.
This is mainstream media, right? They said, if Lucifer scares the living hell out of you with creepy glowing red eyes, I've got bad news for you. On the other hand, if you're like me and find the deepest joy when staring into the eyes of this demonic-looking horse, then please read on and share this news. This is come from mainstream media. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, that's just nuts. It really is. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Yeah, like I said when we beginning of the show, there's a million other things out there that are all wrapped into this and connected.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a big show, Dan.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it tonight, and absolutely. I think we covered it. We could have stayed longer, but I know you don't feel good, and
I'm a little.
Yeah, my back's kind of hurting and stuff. So sitting in this chair, but
And plus we got storms coming our way too, so we don't want to stay out too late.
Yeah,
He's got heavy winds at your end, right?
Yeah, got heavy winds come all day long, and waiting for the next roof to be tore off. So other than that, that's all I got, Dan. Thank you all for the callers. The callers have been epic tonight, and bless you, Dan, for always allowing me to come on here and be a co-host with you. It's always an honor on Spiritual Warfare Friday.
Yeah, it's an honor.
And I thought we had a blast.
Yeah,
it was a good program. Just stay. Anything last words I could say? Stay away from the genies. Stay away from the jinns. Stay away from all the rituals and magic and all the occultic stuff that they sell it to you at Walmart. Spirit boxes and all this stuff. Stay away from all that. It's all dark and demented. So, if you see something blue coming down the street and it doesn't look like a human, run away, But there's a little fun plug in. But anyways, it's been a good program, Dan, and I think we've nailed one again tonight. It's been a good Spiritual Warfare Friday, and I thank you, my friend.
Absolutely.
And everybody have a blessed Sabbath coming up. Mm-hmm.
You too, and guys. If you got any prayer requests and all that stuff, please send it to truthradioshow@outlook.com. So just take a screenshot real quick of that, and if you want any prayer requests, we're going to start doing that next week again. Because what I like to do is build up a number of them so we can do it all at once. So prayer requests, truthradioshow@outlook.com. We'll pray for you on a mass scale, all of us together. So always trust the Bible, guys. And thank you for the donations. And also, guys, which is in the links are in the description as well, the videos. And we're going to be loading this on Rumble tomorrow night as well. So, thank you for the donations and all that. Thank you for the prayers. And don't forget, tomorrow night, the Midnight Ride with John Pounders and David Carrico, 11 p.m. Eastern on Nice TV. Again, the links are in the description. They're right here on YouTube and on Rumble. So, thanks for tuning in to Nefertiti. Now I mispronounced the name. Nefertiti and the Gods of the Blue Bloods. So, quick prayer on the way out. So, thank you, Heavenly Father, for a great broadcast. Thank you for just protecting everybody, and we ask you to continue to protect everybody from the forces of evil and give us hope, wisdom, knowledge, encouragement, and faith, and bless us all on our health because we're getting bombarded. And Lord, I would just pray that you could just bring all the ministries together and just keep us united under your name, Lord. And I want to pray for my cousin Ron. He asked me to pray for him today, which he's in federal prison. A lot of things he's being wrongfully accused on that's making him stay longer than he's supposed to. So we ask you, Father, to protect him in that prison, that maximum security there, and protect him and some of the people he's with that, the J6s wrongfully in prison for protesting at the Capitol building. So we pray for these people, Lord, that you could protect them like you did with Daniel in the lion's den, and the people that were wrongfully accused and in prison. Protect them, Lord, and give them hope and encouragement and all that. And again, bless everybody here that's watching and everybody that's going to watch and everybody to absorb this knowledge. And we ask you to protect us all again. In your mighty name we pray. Amen. I'm out of it.
Amen.
I'm like, it's just like long day, So, good show. Well, I think it's confirmed. So next Friday, David Beverly, Jesus Freak, he's going to be joining us again. He's got some brand new stuff on AI, and which me and Brian, we just got done talking about this before the show. We think what's going on in the mall, and the entities they've seen at the Miami mall there. We think that could be part of AI. So I was talking to a friend of mine too in the parking lot before I go. We'll get to it next week. I don't want to go down that right now because it's just like I'm tired. So we don't want to go down that road. So all right, guys, I love you all. God bless you. Thank you for the calls and all that good stuff. And always remember FOJCRadio, Nice TV, Visual Disturbance, Brian's channel. Subscribe to them, Jason's channel as well. Subscribe to them, and again, just please, if you haven't, it takes like 3 minutes. Go down the list, Click on it quick and hit subscribe. Then hit the back button. Click on the next one, subscribe. And if you're not sure, just please do it because YouTube's always attacking us, whatever the case. And I got a backup channel, so please subscribe to that as well and subscribe to our Rumble channels. And I apologize about that, but we need to do this because if we don't spread out like that and put our eggs in one basket like we do, if we put our eggs in one channel and they take it down, we lost everything. So please subscribe to all our channels. That's
absolutely, Dan. Mm-hmm.
Well, Brian,
I had real quick, Dan. Sunday night, we're going to be doing on Underground Church on FOJCRadio. Atlantis in America will be airing on 9 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. This Sunday coming up, and then speaking of Miami and our stuff we talked about before the air, I did do a program yesterday, so check it out on the Visual Disturbance side. The Miami Mall, the ancient connection, the ancient days, connection to the ancient days. Go check it out. It's the last live feed I did was yesterday, so just trying to tie all the pieces together on the reaching outside the box, so to speak, and going to Antarctica, all kinds of different things I did with that program. So check that out. But Atlantis in America, folks, coming up. Me and Brother David Carrico this Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So don't forget that. And then Midnight Ride tomorrow is going to be interesting, Dan. It's going to be called, I think it's going to be something to do with alien rapture or something, isn't it? Something like that. What's the title
nice.
Now? What's the name of that? I don't want to butcher it. John will kill me.
Similar we did last week. That's so funny how we work out. Me and Brian, we talk about our show. David and John talk about theirs, right? Most of the time, we don't communicate what we're going to be talking about. And it's either that week or the week after or before. We always have shows that kind of correspond with each other. And that's the Holy Spirit. That's nothing else but the Holy Spirit when you do that. We just got done talking about that last week, and John had no clue because he doesn't watch everything and he's got his own stuff to worry about. And it's always like that. It's like we do a show, then either that week or the week after or the week before, they've done a show on what that is. And again, we don't, it's amazing how that works.
Absolutely. Tomorrow night, on ACTV, 11 p.m. Eastern time, it's You've Been Left Behind, False Alien Rapture is the title. Forgive me, John Pounders and David Carrico, for butchering it earlier, but You've Been Left Behind, False Alien Rapture, so go check that out.
That's funny because we just did that last week.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, to get the double hit of the heavy sauce. Yeah, so.
That's awesome.
But, Dan, I'm good to go, Dan. It's been a blessing.
Yeah, you too.
You end us out. All
right, for me, Brian and Jason, shalom, God bless. Remember, you are the resistance.